Is it bad that we have super ominous music?
I love that it's super ominous. And we should be live.
Pull it up. That work?
What is up, everybody, and welcome to the Football Boot Hour. I was looking at one screen and we were live on a different screen. It's all going
Hooray!
really well today.
Great start.
I am James. This is the Boot Wizard channel, and next to me, my co-host, as always, Andrew from the Lockhart Boot blog. Today, we're going to try and do something insane. We're going to try to rank every single Adidas Predator that has ever been released. Strap in, ladies and gentlemen. Strap in. So before we get into that, we will go through the this week's releases, because that is kind of what has inspired us to actually do this particular episode this week. So I suppose we should start with the obvious one, and the re-release of the Mania OG. Andrew,
Are we live right now?
we should be. We very much should be.
I am checking YouTube.
It looks we look live to me from
Okay.
where I am sitting looking at YouTube.
Yeah.
Let me double check that and make sure it is a thing.
Sorry, it normally pops up whenever we're live.
Okay, hold on.
I keep it up on my phones. That's how I follow the chat. Yeah.
Are we live now? There we go.
Yeah.
We are live. Apologies for that, people. Apologies, everybody, for us not being live when we were supposed to be live. We're now live. So let's get back to it, shall we? Ranking every single ranking every single Predator. But we're going to start with the Predators that released this week, just as a chat. Generally having a look at them. What are your thoughts on this latest Made in Germany OG Mania remake?
Cheap.
Doesn't it just?
It does look cheap. First comment from Mark. Can't wait to be here for 3 hours.
Mark knows what's coming. Justin, unacceptable. Justin, don't make me take your mod powers off you. Don't make me do it.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Yeah, this Predator, like, it's not kangaroo leather.
Nope.
It's not even fully made in Germany. It's assembled in Germany.
Yeah, so this is an interesting one, right? Because I assumed, or I thought people knew this. I thought this was just something that people knew. This has been the case for all the Made in Germany releases so far, the Japan Blue and the Pearl one. And then it just seems to have come to light with this particular release. I think it's because J-Mike said something in his review. And everybody's kind of gone, what? They're not actually made in Germany? And I'm like, yeah, did you all not know that?
Yeah.
And it's caused a bit of chaos, but it definitely takes some of the shine off. And this one, like you said, I think looks way cheaper than the other two even. Like there's elements of it that just don't look, it looks rushed compared to the other two. So yeah, I suppose let's hold off on ranking it, because we are going to rank it. It will probably be the last boot we rank this evening. For anybody who's just joining us, who missed the intro there because it wasn't showing us live on YouTube, we are going to rank every single Adidas Predator today, which I count at about 41 different Predators. Strap in, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so that is that dealt with, but we will still talk about the other releases this week. We have the Senna Puma Ultra Ultimates,
which looks amazing. Like some really cool details. The Puma like cat logo going through the helmet visor.
Yeah, it's It's a beautiful looking boot for sure. I apologize, I don't have pictures of these this week. I had to source and put together 41 different videos of Predator boots, so I didn't have time to do the new releases as well. Yeah, I think it's great. I have two problems.
Hmm.
One is, so I'm a big F1 fan,
Same.
and I find it slightly distasteful to use Ayrton Senna to sell football boots.
Yeah, it is a
Um,
bit.
he like it's not like this is Lewis Hamilton trying to sell football boots. This is a man who died racing, who is quite rightly, held up as an icon of the sport, an icon of his country. And I don't know of any link between him and football that's strong enough to justify a pair of football boots that's not going to make me go, that's giving me a little bit of an ick, because I feel like it's a cash grab on a dead man.
Yeah.
I don't love that. Yeah, maybe I'm being overly sensitive. Maybe I'm thinking about it too much, but I didn't like that at all. And
Yeah.
it was genuinely enough to stop me buying the boots.
Yeah. They look awesome. I love it, but like it doesn't make sense why. Why were they released?
Absolutely, I don't get it. And
And
then my other gripe is that they're not the carbon. Like, I know I complained
yeah,
last week that there's too
yeah,
many carbons, but it's an
that
F1
that's
boot for
yeah,
Ayrton
yeah,
Senna.
that should be
Why
carbon.
why was this not carbon? It's baffling to me. Yeah. So we don't want to spend too much time on obviously these. We've got 41 pairs of Predators to get to. So for me, because of all of the above, despite them looking great, I'm calling them meh.
I'll put them in good.
Okay, I'll concede. They look nice.
Yeah.
We can put them in good. I'm just getting unnecessarily upset by things. Then we also got
Not
the
unnecessarily, but a good point.
and then the other boot we got this week was the what's the word? The F50. Oh my god, my brain is
Oh yeah,
fried. Oh,
mush.
we got
Absolute mush.
the Thomas Muller F50 to celebrate being Bayern's
Space Invader.
the Space Invader, which
Space Interpreter.
Space Interpreter. Sorry, everyone keeps calling it a Space Invader, and it's not. It's a Space Interpreter, because that's what I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of this, but it's what a Raumdeuter is essentially.
Ruimdeuter.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, a space interpreter. It is a position that you would play on the football field for, and so many people didn't know this. They're like, "Oh, what is this?" And Adidas did this amazing campaign with him in like a space
really cool
outfit. So cool.
That's really cool.
And yeah, if you don't know what this position is, then you need to play more Football Manager.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's that. So he has 710 caps for Bayern now. He is their most capped player ever. He is absolutely a legend. He absolutely deserves this pair of boots.
Yeah.
And
they look amazing.
Yeah, I think
it's Bayern, which just kind of
it irks you slightly.
Yeah. I can't.
So I didn't buy them.
I wanted to, but I was like, I can't buy a Bayern boot.
Okay. I still think they're great. I still think they're great, despite
same.
Yeah. But I understand the anti-Bayern thoughts on that. There we go. So just coming into here, Justin threatening to kick out Mark. Justin, you kick out Mark, don't you dare. He's the most lovely of men. Mark saying, I think Adidas as a brand lately has felt super cheap, in my opinion. Please don't hate me. I can see where he's coming from. I can definitely see where he's coming from.
He's got some good points.
And Justin says that he genuinely didn't know about the obviously made in Germany, assembled in Germany. Does that mean the Copa Mundial is also just assembled in Germany? I don't know on the Copa. That's a great question.
What I've heard, everything is German made, but
yeah, I genuinely don't know.
It wouldn't surprise me.
This is true.
So the space interpreter, where are we going to rank that?
Oh, the space interpreter is great. Like that's tippity top tier, if you ask me.
Yeah, so good.
Okay, so go on.
Oh, you're gonna mention another release?
I wasn't. What were you going to
Uh-huh.
mention?
There's a few more. There's a new Asics Ultreza colorway.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Nah. Are
What?
you saying you don't look at my content?
I do look at your content.
But if you had looked at my content, you would have seen the new Asics boot. James!
Sorry, Andrew. Was it in your stories?
It was in my stories.
Yeah, I don't
Easy
see
to
I don't
miss.
see all your stories. I'm sorry. I've been very,
Oh.
very busy this week. I apologize. I apologize.
It's bright lime.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It
That
looks good. It's a good
okay.
boot too. I don't know if I could put it in great, but I think it's a good.
Sounds like something I'd like. Let's go with
Yeah.
good. Let's go with good. Yeah.
Yeah. What else do we have? We do have. There's a couple of turfs. We're not going to rank turfs.
No, nobody cares about turfs.
Now there's a new Montecito Neo 3 colorway.
They're okay.
Which is just black
Black.
silver. It's just like the other new Mizunos that just released. It's black silver. So
Meh.
yeah, meh.
It's too many of them. I don't
They
care
need
anymore.
it's step up your game, Mizuno. Come on, man.
Any more for any more?
No, that's it.
Okay. This is what happens when I have to prep for 41 boots and I'm not ready with the others. Because what I would normally do is I go through all of mine and all of your stories for the week, and I pull out everything we've shared so that I know exactly what's coming. But anyway, and before we move on to the Preds in just a second, is there anything that you've been wearing this week that you would like to bring up,
Nope.
to mention?
No.
No.
I had an exam this week, so I didn't play at all.
Nice.
Three exams in 3 days. So.
Oh, this is for Japanese school, I assume.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And how did they go?
Speaking and writing were fine.
Listening, not so much.
No, listening was fine. The others should have been. The other parts of yesterday's exam should have been much easier. I didn't realize we just had to study some worksheets, and I didn't do that. I tried studying everything.
Disaster. But your comparison review of the Messi F50 and the F50 is up. So
it is up.
People should definitely go and check that out.
I'm going to go plug it again tonight in lieu of posting more pictures.
Please go and watch. Or what? Don't watch. Read. That particular review. So I've had a few things come in. There's a few reviews floating around the place, but I'm not going to spend too much time on them. I had these come in because Nike were doing a 25% off sale. So this is the Pro. So we're going to do a little takedown review on these, mainly because I had them in hand in a shop and everyone was telling me, and I'd seen in other reviews that, these are just as good as the Elite. So this is like the better option. So, okay, picked them up in the shop to have a look. And I did this in the shop, which then made me buy them so that I can make a review to tell people they're stupid.
Oh!
How can you tell me that this is just as good as the Elite when it bends in the middle like that? Give me a break. But anyway, so we're going to review the whole thing. We're going to do a proper review.
Yeah, Adidas looking cheap.
Yeah.
If Adidas looks cheap, so what's Nike?
But that's the Legend 10 Pro.
So was it a sale because it was 25% off, or were those specifically marked down 25% off?
No, it was so Nike EU had a 25% off back to school sale, and so certain items that were 25% off, and I was buying my son a new pair of shoes because he'd grown out of his shoes, and to bump up the order value, I ordered these.
Nice.
Got the discount, and
those are like up to 40% off here already.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
That whole colorway lineup is
everything. Jesus.
Nike is not selling right now. Which, unless you're, I don't know if people saw my sub-storing a certain boot seller who shall remain nameless because I don't want to give him credit, but basically he was like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Nike's just so much better, blah, 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 blah. Nike's always much better than Adidas.
Yeah,
And then he
Nike's so much
mentions
better with the quality, mentioning boxes and
boxes
like,
and paper and
yeah. And then I also got these in. These literally arrived today. They've still got the
yeah,
tags
the
on.
HG.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I got some HG King Ultimates. So I have both the King Ultimate and these. So these have a floating U-throat tongue. They fit really nicely.
That
The
should be
material
the
is
Pro, by the way.
the what? Sorry,
That's the Pro. That's not even the Elite.
my box says
It says
otherwise.
Elite?
Ultimate, yeah, top level, tippy toppy tier.
Huh. Okay. I can be wrong. Um,
First time for everything.
huh.
Is the Pro normally the HG floaty
Yes,
tongue version?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So because the obviously the normal version is also
Mm,
a U-throat
mm,
version in the Pro, but
yeah,
not in obviously the Ultimate, which is
yeah,
why I was so keen to pick these up. Was when
yeah,
they was basically offered to me,
yeah,
and they didn't cost me a whole lot. That's why I was so keen to pick these up, not
yeah,
just because of the HG plate, but because I was like, oh, well, that's kind of cool.
yeah.
And there
The
are,
fit's slightly different, and
yeah, yeah. These are, I just in fit terms, I kind of prefer them to the others already.
right, so, yeah.
The heel is nicer. I'm having some
Mm,
real Puma heel issues at the moment.
that's not good.
Reviews coming. Reviews coming.
Nice.
Okay. Oh my god, the chat's gone mad. The chat has gone mad. Here we go. Trev. Trev Dunphy, who is in the chat. Thank you, Trev. So Trev has. I sent Trev my list of predators because Trev is he's a boot head, but he's a pred head.
Yeah.
So I essentially went, Trev, have I missed anything off this list? And he has jumped into the chat there to tell me that there are things that I missed off my list, which are obviously very obvious. Red Mania, you're absolutely right. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have that one on there.
Another
Oh,
remake.
yeah, it's all remakes that I've missed, I'm
Yeah.
sure. Mania SG. I'm making notes of these, Trev. Thank you very much. And I think I had gold absolute shit. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I missed 3. Thank you, Trev. Appreciate you.
Nice. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, here we go. Okay, here we go. Oh my word. Chris Paul says, "Are you ranking the models or colorways playing a part? Models
No,
only. Like colorways
models.
would be insane. Although, like obviously, each remake is its own thing, and they're all individual
Yeah.
colorways. So that's a thing.
That's
Um,
fun.
so
Thanks, Sadie.
Andrew Footloose Boots, I am just ignoring that comment. Thank you very much. Don't you dare start on us again. Right. Let's get into it, shall we?
Yep,
Let's
let's
get
go.
into it. Yes, remakes do count, Andrew Palmer, Footloose Boots. Okay, so I figure you could tell me if you want to do it a different way. I was going to go through every single regular release boot, and then we'll go through the remakes after that, just because that's the way I've got it written down.
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. All
That
right.
makes most sense to me.
I don't know if it does. I think probably chronological order would have been better, but that's just not how I've got this lined up.
Well, if you want it in chronological order, have your own podcast.
I thought you were talking to me. I thought you were like, well, if you want it in chronological order, I'm going to create it in chronological order.
No, I ain't doing shit.
Okay, so let's get into it. Predator 94. Let us know down in the chat. Let us know in the comments if you're watching this on the catch-up episode what your ranking is for each one or all together. Predator 94, they are obviously the original, the innovator, the whole reason the Predator exists. I don't think there's anywhere else they can go but in our top tier into great.
Yeah, a lot of guys are saying good, which, if it came a bit later, I would have said good, but it's
Absolutely.
the original. It's a
Yeah.
progenitor of everything. So,
yeah.
Progenitor? Progenitor. Sorry, I'm just workshopping words out loud to myself during the middle of a podcast that's going to be 2 hours.
At least it's words. Okay, if anybody doesn't know, this is our tier list. So our tier list is great, good, meh, bad, and awful. And so we are going to put the Predator 94 into great, and we're going to move along. If there's a boot that doesn't need a lot of debate, we're just going to move along because we're going to be here forever otherwise. Okay, so next up, moving on to 1995. I should have images for nearly everything, almost. And we have the rapier in Predator in 1995. So I think this is where you get to the point of, that argument that you have in the chat of this isn't, it's not the original. It doesn't necessarily have any additional elements that are iconic over the original or what came later. So this could definitely be knocked down a place.
Yeah, well, just putting good.
Yeah, I think this is also good. I think good makes a lot of sense for that one. Excellent. We're flying. We're flying. We'll be done in 10 minutes at this rate. Absolutely not. Okay. Next up, the Touch, the Predator Touch, which is a beautiful looking boot.
So
and
good.
Obviously, we have the introduction of a fold-over tongue there, which is beautiful. And I think fold-over tongue introduction by itself basically puts this into great for me.
Yeah, me too. I want to say also, like, yes, there's 2 Pred models before it, but this was kind of like the boot where it felt... I mean, also, this is kind of where I started really getting into watching football, but at the same time, looking back, this kind of seems like the Predator that actually starts to set things off. A little bit, not a lot, but a little bit.
The ball is rolling at this point. Like, it's starting to kind of go. The Predator's got some attention, but this is really where it's starting to pick up. And I think it's the accent of the red accents and the red tongue do an awful lot visually for that.
Yeah, I'd love to see a remake of these.
You know what? Yeah, I would like a Touch remake. I think that would be very nice. Yeah, sign me up for a Touch remake.
That the Beckham halfway line goal. Surely there's an anniversary coming up. What? 2026 is going to be 30 years since that goal against Wimbledon.
Any excuse for them to roll out an anniversary, David Beckham and a Predator, because it's basically like printing money.
It just prints money.
So I could see that. I could definitely see that happening. Any excuse. Okay, so we happy with that one in great?
Yep.
Absolutely. Moving on. I think these early ones are going to be easy. And then it's when we get into the remakes and stuff where it's going to get a little bit more difficult. Again, this is one of the Predators, isn't it?
This is where things just explode. The tongue strap, the visual elements of it, the fact that it was everywhere during the 98 World Cup.
Yeah. That I think you've got the like you say, the tongue strap on this one, and it's the way that the stripes moved in this one. The stripes were very special. Obviously, you started to kind of tone back the elements a little bit here, and actually make the boot more playable. This could be why we don't have a Touch remake. I know they did the 94, but because of the way the elements were, whereas here this is kind of actually a much more playable football boot. And we still see inspiration from this today. There's definitely accelerator inspiration on the current boot design, without question.
And there's a lot of like little clever details, like one of the stripes highlighting the Predator element. Like, hey, like this is here. Yeah. You could see that from a long way off. And the whole using red stitching to then have it flow into a red accent across the boot, like there's a little details like that shows that they were really paying attention heavily to design then. And then, yeah, even where there's not the red, it goes across the stripe, so you have the line that follows through. I mean, just shame they absolutely did it to death with remakes, but you know. You have to
Yeah, they're still
appreciate.
doing it to death with remakes.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is great. Justin makes a good point in the chat. It says, "Didn't only Bex have the tongue strap? I think the normal one was just flap tongue."
yeah,
Yes, that is
hmm
correct. And also, I think originally Bex sewed his own tongue, his own strap
yeah, yeah.
onto the
He
tongue,
did.
because he wanted to get it keep it down. So he was just like, "I'll just do this myself." And I think
Hmm
eventually Adidas just gave in. Okay, so that one is definitely going into great. I think that
hmm
is nice and clear. See, the problem is now I'm trying to do this very seamlessly, but I have to kind of scroll up and down to find the relevant picture. So we are now looking for the precision. So we're up
Yes.
to
Oh,
we're up to 2000,
oh,
and we have
look at that.
the
It's a piece of
Predator Precision.
art.
It is
It's a
beautiful, isn't it?
piece of art. I,
Again, the way those
I've
stripes
missed
move, like, ugh.
I've missed all the remakes for it so far. I want to pick one up eventually. There's just so good. Like, I knew a couple guys who were playing for Darby's Academy at the time, and they were both Generation Adidas players.
Yeah.
So Adidas gave them their boots for free, and those guys wore them. And then we had another guy who that's the pair's parents bought for him, and oh my gosh, they just looked unreal.
Yeah, they're beautiful. They're such
Yeah.
lovely looking football boots. They really, really are.
Uh-huh.
I miss traction studs a little bit. I know we've seen them before,
Yeah.
but like I
Yeah.
just they're having to like unscrew them from inside the stud.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think these are excellent, and we'll get to them on the remakes. But obviously
Mhm.
they did a Beckham Precision Archive remake of these, which
I did
I have
several.
I have recently procured from Justin, because the point one model had a synthetic upper.
Synthetic. Yep.
So yes,
Good on
thank
you,
you, Justin.
Adidas. Making it easy. And good on you, Justin.
Yeah, we've done a fun little trade, Justin and I. So appreciate that, Justin. Thank you very
Mhm.
much. Uh, okay, sorry, we didn't rank that, did we?
That's
I think
great.
it's great, isn't it? Like, let's be
Yeah.
honest. Like, we
Yeah.
didn't need to rank it. It's going in great. Um, and then we're up to the Mania. So essentially, a lot of people would consider Accelerator, Precision, Mania like your holy trinity
Mhm.
of Predators, and for very, very good reason, I think.
Mhm.
But yeah, the Mania, like,
Yeah.
this is, of all the Predators, this is the Predator, right? Like, you can
Mhm.
argue it for the Accelerator or the Precision, but it's not. It's
It
this.
is.
This is
It is the
the
Predator.
Predator.
Yeah.
It has everything. It
Mhm.
has the tongue strap. It has the fold over tongue. It has your leather. It's got your stripes, and your stripes going
Mhm.
under the boot. It's got your traction studs. It has absolutely everything.
Mhm.
And I've said this many times before on the channel, but my first pair of top end boots that I bought for myself, I have a strong nostalgic relationship with this boot. I love it so very
Do
much.
love the
And
boot.
hmm?
Do love the boot.
Yeah, like, obviously there's the champagne colorway as well.
Oh,
Also iconic, Japan,
the
Korea,
lunar.
World Cup,
Yeah.
Beckham.
Japan
Um,
colorway.
I,
The
I think this
lunar.
the Luna colorway, yeah, the Luna
Mhm.
was always an odd one for me. It was beautiful, but I'm like, I
Mhm.
don't know why you do Luna and champagne. Like, I was like, I don't.
Different shades of white, James. Come on.
That's kind of my point. Like, um, and again, I think you do have here, like, every colorway is iconic, and
Mhm.
part of this comes all the way back to things that we've been talking about on the podcast for quite some time, of there being too many colorways, those colorways not
Mhm.
being able to. That means the boots can't really become iconic because they don't have
Yep.
iconic moments, they don't have
Yep.
iconic periods, and the Mania, I think, is the perfect example of every colorway being iconic because it wasn't overdone. It got
Yep.
2 years worth of lifespan, and what did it
Mhm.
get in 2 years? 6 colorways, something like that.
Yeah. Something like
Like,
that. Yeah.
come on,
Yeah.
like, just incredible.
Mhm.
I assume the chat is all,
God tier.
yeah, better than great. That's fair. That's
That's the
fair.
very top of great. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, it is.
For
It's the
now.
for now. For now, what else are we putting in there?
Oh.
Okay,
Oh.
so
Oh yeah.
the
The gunmetal. Yeah. We've got
yeah,
to talk about the gunmetal.
again. all unbelievably iconic. Even it's right. The fact that the Japan blue became iconic, despite the fact that nobody could buy it at the time it was
It was
released.
only released in Japan.
And I don't think many people realize that. I think people just think it was like just this
Normal
colorway
release.
that you could get in the Mania, and it just
Mm-hmm.
absolutely wasn't the case. You couldn't buy that colorway. Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, you could, but it was very, very difficult. Like an original
Yeah.
pair of Japan Blue Manias is so hard to come by.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, great. There's only so much. As much as I'd love to wax lyrical about the Mania for a long
Yeah.
time, there's not really much else that can be said. I don't think.
And Justin, Japan Blue Mania was everyone's great white buffalo. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh
fair.
yeah, the Scourge. We forgot about the Scourge.
The what now?
The Predator Scourge.
The fudge is the Predator Scourge.
The Scourge.
What? You're gonna make me Google things on a podcast.
I completely forgot this one too, to be honest.
I don't even know if I know what this is.
It's red heel, white upper, white sole plate, red tongue.
Oh, was that a different Predator? Like, does that not?
It's a different colorway.
It's a different colorway. Or did it have a different name?
No, but everybody called it the Scourge.
Okay, because I do know. Like now you've described it, I do know
Yeah.
the boot. I just assumed that it was just. I didn't realize it had like another name. I just thought it was a different, a colorway. Okay, fair enough. Moving on.
Okay.
Okay, next up we come to 2004. We have already traveled from 94 to 2004, where we get the Predator Pulse, which I think can be argued is probably an underrated Predator. Is that fair?
Yeah, I know Jay from Boot Hype isn't as big of a fan of it. I will say this: they look way better in the rearview mirror before looking at all the remakes, and they just drove it into the damn ground. But like, it was really good at the time. I remember I really liked the blue and silver colorway they did in these.
Yeah.
And this is where, so I wasn't working in a store yet, but some of the guys I ended up working with were already working in stores, and they said this is where people started lining up outside the store before it opened on release day.
Right.
To get every new colorways and stuff.
Yeah, because I suppose like you realize the hype with the Mania, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I need the next one. Like I think I don't know if they've maybe overdone it with colorways on the current generation, but they could have achieved that with like this generation to next generation of Predator.
Yeah, I think
because
so too.
This one sold so well and sold out so quickly, they could have literally had that hype carry over to the next one.
Yeah.
Without much effort, although they may have killed their own hype by just releasing so many colorways in this boot. Like I know it's not the greatest colorway, but that the last pack they released, I've forgotten the name of it, with the blue and white kind of battle pack pattern on it and things, that's not sold out. You can still get that.
Yeah.
So I think they've kind of killed their own cash cow there.
Justin mentioning the silver dragon Beckhams. Those were so good.
So nice.
The fingerprint colorway, the yin yang colorway.
I was going to say yin yang is where I was going to mention this. If Trev is still here, does Trev have a pair of yin yangs? I'm not sure if he might. I think he might do. The presentation on those was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, but also it feels like at this point that Adidas realized that they had something. And they could do something with it. Yin Yang's fingerprints.
This is where they started realizing like the dragon at the time must have been really difficult to produce, because you're introducing a whole graphic on the side of the boot that's basically, was it stitched in?
I don't know, to be honest.
That's a lot of work.
That is a lot of work, and to the point where, like, again, you have to consider this is 2004. Putting graphics and prints onto boots like that just wasn't a thing. Like, you didn't have that. The fact that only a few years prior, when Nike were dropping like chrome silver boots, was a huge deal. like to then put a whole pattern on, that's actually
Mhm.
quite impressive. And they wouldn't have done that if they didn't think that there was market and demand for it.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I feel like here they're really cottoning on to what's going on.
I don't think the dragon one was made by Y3. I could be wrong. I
Yeah, I
remember
don't think it was.
its influence was from some of Beckham's tattoos, and same with the yin yang. They kind of took inspiration from his love of like Eastern East Asian culture and stuff.
Yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I think so. This is an interesting one because I think this could definitely go in great, and that's probably where
Mhm.
I'd put it. But I think there's a lot of people that would maybe argue that it's only good.
I'd put it in great just because some of the colorways they made were just absolutely
Yeah,
outstanding.
I think something like the yin yang colorway pushes it over the edge, like that
And
kind
the,
of thing.
and the thing that also does it for me, and this is kind of why, like in terms of playability, sorry guys, the Pulse I kind of put it above the Mania
In
because the
playability,
Mania, yeah, and the Mania had so much leather and could overstretch so easily, whereas these had the synthetic side. They were still really comfortable. They still got loads of leather,
leather.
but you had a bit more side to side stability.
That's the take that everyone's going to pull out of this because I still have people like will still throw at me like Justin, not Justin. Sorry, Justin. I nearly threw you under the bus there. Footloose Boots already commented like, oh yeah, look, the Mania's not like wouldn't hold up in today's market, because people still throw that at us from when we said it last
Mhm.
time. I still stand by it. You released a 2002 Mania today with no nostalgia, people would not be impressed. And yeah, there's again the Pulse plays better than the Mania
Mhm.
if you're literally just comparing performance.
Yeah,
Obviously, the Mania is more iconic.
yeah,
My brother had a couple of pairs of Pulses. I reference my brother
nice.
a lot when it's around this time, because he had all the cool boots because he's actually good at football. Uh, so yeah, he had a couple of pairs of Pulses. He had the blue ones. Might have had the dragon ones actually.
Is this Luke?
Yeah.
Yeah, figured.
So yeah, he had some great boots. He was playing in academies and things like that. So fair enough. So they were always around the house. I was always very jealous. And yeah,
Nice.
the pulse we can put into great. I think that will define split the chat and split
Mhm.
everybody's opinions.
Yeah,
Red pulses from the boot zone. Yeah, that's an excellent point. The red pulses
yeah,
were
yeah.
great. Um,
I
I always
remember
found I preferred the Mania.
they almost did a full blackout one. And when I first got to university, a lot of the guys were buying that and then fully blacking them out because they just look so sleek that way.
It is a sleek looking boot for
Yeah,
something of that age, for sure.
yeah,
If you put it
yeah,
side by side with some other stuff that was around the time, very
yeah.
sleek. Okay, so they're into great for us. You may
Yep.
debate that elsewhere.
Mhm.
And we will move on to 2006, which is the Absolute.
It's the first Predator I properly wore.
Interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, because you've said you were very much a mercurial man before that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Please do talk about the Absolute while I
Yeah.
try and find this picture
Find the
of the
picture.
Absolute.
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, at the time it was so wild. Like you're like, oh, this got this super heavy bit in the front of the foot. But I remember playing on like a super windy, wet, and rainy night and everything, and like around Christmas time. It was the first time I properly took a pair out to the pitch, and I was just shocked at like, oh my gosh, I actually feel like I can just hammer the ball so much more. There was a lot of leather on these. The only problem I had is the Predator elements were kind of low key on this boot.
There definitely have been, obviously, since your original Predator, they've been obviously reducing and streamlining your elements
Mm-hmm.
the entire time. But I do feel like we got to a point with the Absolute where it was like, are they there?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
is this doing anything? And
yeah.
you see the logic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you start to think logically and technically about these things, the level of rubber element that was on something like the Touch and
Mm-hmm.
the original, is madness. Like,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it does not make for a good football boot.
Mm-hmm.
It makes for
Yeah.
something that's stiff. It makes for
Mm-hmm.
something that doesn't give you a good touch and feel for the ball.
Yeah.
So transitioning to this more leather, less kind of rubber and plastic, especially at this time when
Mm-hmm.
that rubber element isn't, you know, anybody like, I
Yeah.
realize that our audience is probably not mainly like younger people. It's usually like older boot heads like ourselves. But anybody who's picked up the current generation of Predator and thought, oh yeah, this is rubber elements. I'm like, nah,
Yeah.
that's not what
Yeah.
rubber elements used to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah. Yeah. They
So, you know, I understand paring them back, but again,
mhm.
you're starting to remove a few Predator elements from the
Yeah.
Predator.
Yeah. This had some amazing colorways. I remember, so right when I first started working in a store, we still had some of the white gold ones in stock for the World Cup.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, and my size was gone already. And I was just like, well, there goes what I was going to spend my first paycheck on. You had the black gold, you had the maroon Beckhams, you had the blue Beckhams he wore for the World Cup.
The
A lot of
I
great
always think
colors.
of Kaká in these.
Yeah, Kaka was big player for these.
Yeah, like that was these were great looking boots, and I still like they still
Gold
fall into that
black,
kind
yeah.
of like iconic run
Hmm.
of Predators. I think there's it's rare to go from, and obviously there was less boots being released and definitely less scrutiny, and
Hmm.
we look back with rose tinted glasses, but there's a
Yeah.
strong argument to be made that you can make this run from 94 through to like at this point we're in 2006 with
Hmm.
no misses, you know, with everything being a hit.
Yeah.
So
That that
but
per- that, that yeah. Justin's like, talk about the lead. I'm like, well, talked about it. But yeah, that thing was huge. And if you buy a pair, if you can find a pair of these new now, it's better to put the plastic insert in because the metal ones tend to break really easily. They're kind of brittle after a
I was
long
going to
time.
say they've got kind of gone
Yeah.
brittle. So
Yeah.
this was essentially under the insole,
Hmm.
and you sat it down into the boot, and it was a weight at the
Hmm.
front of the boot, which was designed to designed to supposedly increase your shot power by
Hmm.
increasing the weight transfer, which
Hmm.
in theory works.
Yeah.
In practice, it just made the front of the boots heavy, or heavier, and it wasn't even
Power.
really that noticeable.
It wasn't called the Power Pulse. What was it called? Maybe it was called the Power Pulse on that.
Was it power? It was definitely Power Pulse on the Power Swerve, wasn't it?
I can't remember. I really can't remember. So I'm holding a Power Swerves off camera so we can talk about it next.
Yeah, again,
Yeah.
I was prepping all of this, so I did not
Yeah.
pick up any of
Yeah.
my Preds. I am Predless.
That's fine.
But that's fine. So yeah, absolutes. This again,
Great.
another interesting one. Great or good?
Great.
Great. I agree. I
Great.
think that they can go up there as well.
Hmm.
Okay, so that's the absolutes. On to the Power Swerves.
Yeah.
Power Swerve. So the Power Swerve is 2007.
Hmm.
So this is the first time we've got not a full 2 years between the two boots,
Yeah.
and I will let Andrew take over because if anybody should say anything negative about his beloved Power Swerve, there may be death.
I will gut you like a fish. Yeah, the Power Swerve. It's not my first Predator, but it's my favorite Predator by far. This still absolutely holds up. This is my last good pair. My buddy stopped playing, so he sent me all of his pairs, and he had so many pairs of Power Swerves. And this is the last one that's still in great condition and everything. And yeah, it still holds up. You can still wear it. I will say these don't get great traction on AG, but on FG they're still amazing, and even on harder ground. And then yeah, you had the tungsten. You can kind of see the
Yeah, there we go. So this was tungsten powder and so that instead of just being a heavy element in the bottom, like you got on the Absolute, this was like a tungsten powder that traveled from one end to the other as you struck. So instead of just being heavy in the end, it was supposed to be more of a transfer.
let's
Again,
just dump out all the dirt onto the floor.
again, did next to nothing. Pointless. Did it even work? Who knows? It was a
It's a
gimmick.
weird sensation.
Yeah, I'd not for me. But the Power Swerve as a whole, obviously
Oh
fantastic
yeah,
boot.
so many good colorways as well. Like this was part of a 3 boot collection. So this is the control. I used to have the swerve, and then that blew up, and then they had a power one, and just like little details. Like, so this is the control. Here's the
1 second up.
swerve.
I'll make you big. There we go.
Yeah. So here's the control. So it's highlighted, and then here's the swerve. So in the swerve pair, this was blown up, and then here's the power one, which had 20 extra grams in the
If the
tungsten. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's not my favorite Predator, but it's probably the one that I'd be most of the older ones. It's probably the one that I'd be most likely to wear, like up
Mm-hmm.
to this point.
Yeah.
There's
It's got,
one
yeah,
other that's coming that I might wear instead.
I love that they increased the the power. It's called the dynamic power system.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So even now it's still got some grip to it.
Yeah, it was a little bit softer as well, and a little bit kind of tacky,
Yeah.
as opposed to just being like a solid rubber element. It was at this point a little bit softer. You kind of felt like it had a bit of give in it when you did strike the ball, and you could definitely feel more. You'd feel that working more than you could with, for example, the absolute, or the lack of what was going on with the absolute.
Yeah. Leather on these is superb as well. Also still holds up. They're heavy for sure, but so good. So good. I need to load up on power swerves. Just if I could sell some damn boots and get some proper funding for the blog, then yeah. Buy my boots, damn it. I can barely afford anything right now. I think I can get the next boot for review, and that's it for the time being. So
that is not ideal. Yes, so Andrew has boots for sale, as do I. Please go and purchase boots from at least one of us. We have good prices, we promise.
Before we move on, and because I need to wax lyrical about the power surf.
Please do.
This heel, I know I complain about the heels a lot. This heel is incredible. It's just got the right amount of cushioning. It fits my heel incredibly well. And this is even with like a fairly stiff external heel counter. But
interesting.
Yeah.
I don't remember the heel on those. I don't remember it being good. I don't remember it being bad, and I haven't worn a power swerve in quite some time.
You don't focus on the heels as much, so you wouldn't.
No, yeah, you're making me. Like it's ridiculous. Like I've started. You'll notice that in reviews I have coming up. So I've recorded a few reviews recently. They've all got bloody like in-depth heel sections
leading into you,
while I've been beaten into me. And the problem, do you know what the problem is? I'm complaining about most of the heels as well.
Oh, it's almost as if I'm right, and I haven't been harping on uselessly for years. It's like I know what I'm talking about.
While we are obviously the power swerve is going into great for both of us, but while we're here, I don't have images of these. We obviously need to cover the Beckham power swerves, which are the synthetic.
White gold.
So there's technically two different types of Beckham power swerve, isn't there? So there's the synthetic Beckham power swerve, which are essentially the power swerve with a synthetic upper, and then there is the Climacool power swerve, which is a synthetic upper power swerve but with holes in it.
It was so comfortable. That Climate Cool one was stupidly comfortable.
Yeah, at the moment, you know this because you managed to source most of the boots for me. I have one of each of the kind of old David Beckham synthetic boots. So at least not every colorway, but for example, I have an Adi Power. I have I have an LZ, things like that. What I don't have is Power Swerve. So essentially my collection is missing a synthetic Power Swerve and a Climacool Power Swerve, mainly because they tend to be very expensive when they come up.
People know what they have.
Yeah, people are willing to pay for them as well.
Yeah, like that's one of those ones. Like I kind of compare it to like the Hypervenom 2.5 in a weird way. You rarely see them come up for sale. When you do, they're like pretty expensive versus other models, just because people know,
Yeah,
like the people who know, they know what they've got.
and the people who know seem to be the only people that have them.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, so I'm what I really want is a Climacool, but I will accept a synthetic. And again, the Beckham ones had such good colorways. The kind of white and navy, they had the gold and
Hmm.
white, like
The
uh,
silver.
yes, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh
I
yeah,
think there's
that
a pair of silver
nailed
ones
it.
here, but the guy's wanting like 500 euros for them.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
altogether too much. Altogether too much. I can't justify it.
Oasis tickets or
Well, I didn't get Oasis
Climate Cool
tickets
Beckham?
either, so
Well, those are
yeah,
also 500 euros.
don't get me started. Uh, I went on. I got to the.
Stereophonics are clear, anyways.
Oh, dude. Honestly, that's just such a terrible take. Uh,
No, it's not. It's the best take.
I'm willing to accept your Blur are better than Oasis take. That's fine.
Blur is better.
Stereophonics are better than both of them. Like, please, please. And I've seen the
Mostly.
Stereophonics live, and I like the Stereophonics. But please.
Okay, well, I'll stop derailing this.
Okay, Power Swerves, Beckhams, and regulars up into great. They are top
I'll show
tippity
him the
top
meme,
tier.
Justin.
Hmm?
Yep.
Yep.
There's Justin sent me a meme, so I'll show it to you later.
Justin, stop derailing the podcast. Moving on to the beginning of the downfall of the Predator.
God damn boot.
This is like sometimes, right? I think so poorly of this boot that it genuinely I have like this weird kind of headcanon adjustment where I'm like, oh yeah, this is the boot that killed the Predator. Like you got this and then it died and there was nothing after it, which isn't true by a long way. But at the same time, that is how I feel. This was a terrible football boot.
It was. Like I can see what they're trying to go for, but what they ended up doing was just taking everything that was good about the Power Swerve and then being like, nah.
Just throw that in the bin.
Yeah. It's so weird. Like, so I have this thing about going back to music. I have this thing where a band will produce an album and you're like, this album's really good. Whatever comes after this will be amazing. You can kind of tell like where the evolution is going. So you kind of like with the Power Swerve, you're like, oh wow, this is incredible. Which, looking back, I didn't realize this would be like a highlight rather than the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
And then like I expected the next Predator to be amazing, and then we got
with this
just a wet fart.
So Julio Bootmaniac has made a comment, has asked a question. I think it's a very valid question. I definitely want to answer it. It says, "What if these had a tongue? Would it have done any better?" My answer is, if these have had a tongue, they'd have been even worse.
Yeah, they would.
Like
it's one of the things. Like adding a Predator element to it would have made it worse.
Yeah, and I just think it would have made like so. Not only was this obviously like, it started taking away all the things you like about a Predator. It was genuinely a terrible boot to wear and play in. And I think by adding that Predator tongue and yet adding more bulk to this just awful boot would have genuinely made the boot worse. So yeah, maybe it might have sold a little better, but I think it would have made it worse.
Justin makes a good point that he kind of thinks the burrito tongue on these is what kind of started the hate for burrito tongues for a lot of people.
Oh, maybe. Although burrito tongues generally aren't good.
Well, and then Trev points out like so many professionals had a completely different boot to this.
Yeah.
Really says a lot. Like it wasn't kangaroo leather first off. This is when they started Taurus leather.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is not just an upgraded calf leather, basically. And I remember this colorway specifically, it came out in 2009. So December 2009, these came out, and then the black, white, red came out. And this was for the 2010 World Cup. And there was a restock in like March. And I think by December or like January of 2011, we still had some of these in stock. Just nobody was touching them. I think the black, white, red sold just because it was a Pred color. It was like a classic Pred colorway.
The Pred colorway.
But I think this was the first Predator where we actually had to return some to Adidas because they just weren't selling.
Yeah, like it's not good from a silhouette point of view. It's
Yeah.
not good from a performance point of view. It's just not good.
Yeah. So
Um,
these going awful.
I was gonna say, I think while it's a dramatic fall from grace, I think these are genuinely, they have to go in awful. They
And
have to be bottom tier.
and not just because of everything we've just mentioned, but also I think because it ruined the next Predator for a lot of people, which
Hmm.
we'll get into.
Which isn't,
Segue.
yeah, segue in to the Addy
So,
Power.
yeah.
Obviously this is 2009. The Addy Power was 2011. The
Uh-huh.
Addy Power is the first one that for some reason I do not have
Okay.
an image of.
So the Addy Power, like looking back, people are to say, "Oh, this was an amazing boot," blah blah blah. But the X was so bad that when the Addy Power came out, people were kind of expecting more than the same. And it wasn't until you actually got it on people's feet where they're like, "Oh, this is actually amazing."
I skipped the Addy Power as a result of
Mm-hmm.
the X. So I am literally one of those people that didn't pick up
Yeah,
the Addy Power until later.
there was a lot of people. We had a launch event with the a youth like an academy graduate from FC Dallas and a goalkeeper from FC Dallas, and there were so few people who showed up to that event. And we put up advertising for everyone, and just nobody wanted the Addy Power. And it wasn't even until like the LZ came out where people were like, "Oh, the Addy Power is actually really, really
Yeah, the
good."
Addy Power's a good boot.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I don't think I tried the Addy Power until post Instinct. I
mm-hmm,
think before I even put an Addy Power on my feet, because I skipped it. I did try the LZ, which we'll get to in a
mm-hmm,
second, and then I liked the LZ,
mm-hmm.
um, and then we kind of go through, and it was only till after the Instinct I managed to like pick up a pair of the Addy Power and try them and be like, holy, what was I missing? I
Yeah,
really like the Addy Power from a
yeah.
performance point of view. The Addy
Mm-hmm.
Power is exceptional.
Soul Plate
Um,
was really good. Like they took it wasn't much different from what was already out, but they added little bits to it. You know, they had like the scorch kind of like cut marks on the more classic blades, and like you just got way more grip out of it. They managed to update that Soul Plate, and then yeah, this was the first one that had a super light model.
yeah, the Addy Power SL, which was the
Mm-hmm.
synthetic, not as good as the regular Addy Power.
No, no,
That's like there's while I think there's definitely argument for like the Power Swerve synthetic versions to be not like, or maybe as good, but like kind of in a different realm. They're kind of
yeah,
different
yeah,
but great. I think there's no argument that the Addy Power SL is as good as the Addy Power. I think the Addy Power is,
yeah,
as a whole, is just a better boot,
yeah.
and the SL also came in that hideous slime green and purple colorway that I will
Uh,
forever and ever remember. It was awful. I had a pair of those.
but yeah, the Addy Power is one of those that I definitely. That's another Predator like I want to go back and load up on. And I will say as a side, I've got a buddy who is a diehard Predhead. Only ever wore Predators until they actually killed the line,
Mm,
and he had a lot of because you could do my Adidas back at the time. So he had a
yeah,
lot of the X because the X was fairly easy to get hold of, blah blah blah, and he just wore a lot of those. And I was just like, there's even better Adidas boots. It's like, no, I'm sticking with Preds. It's just what
yeah.
I know. It's like okay, but when the Addy Power came out, he had so many pairs of the Addy Power, like so many pairs. I think he had almost as many pairs of the Addy Powers as he did as the Power Swerve.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh god. Okay, so Addy Powers. So I think Addy Powers for me are great. They're top
Yep.
tier.
Great. Easy.
Um, the SLs. Do we put them? Do we rank them separately?
Meh.
Meh. Yeah, I think that's fair. Addy Power
Like
SLs into
I
meh.
understand it was their first effort, but it still could have done a bit more.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I definitely want to reiterate the point that you kind of made about the Addy Power Soul Plate. The Addy Power Soul Plate is
It's
so
so
good.
good. Yeah.
Dear God,
That's like
that
if they remake an Addy Power, I would push so hard for them to like completely remake. I know it'd be stupidly expensive, but
There's no other Soul Plate in the Pred lineup where if they did a remake, I'd be like, oh yeah, I want that Soul Plate back. Apart like just the Addy Power, I want
yeah,
that Addy Power Soul Plate. It's unbelievable.
yeah.
So okay, so that is done. So that moves us on to the LZ, which brings us up to 2012. And somewhere around here, I do have an image of the LZ.
Nice.
Here we go.
Yeah.
We're back on form. We have the LZ, which is, I think, still, like, as much as you say the Addy Power suffered because of the X, I think the LZ still suffered because of the X. You're like, every boot from the X onwards, irrespective of how good it was going to be, suffered. But I also think the LZ suffered because it
was on leather.
Yeah, it's you've stripped away yet another Predator element. Like the tongue has been gone for a while. Now the leather's gone. And yeah, you know, hybrid touch is great. The upper on this is really nice.
It's really good.
The striking elements are decent, maybe a little overdone. The stickiness is good, but there might just be a bit too much of them. But overall, this is a decent boot, and I still think there was very much a I'm done with the Preds. Like the X has killed it for me.
Yeah, I kind of think so too. I was in China and Hong Kong when this released, and when I got to Hong Kong, there was advertising everywhere for this.
Okay,
like on the sides of buildings. You go into the train station, there was like little pitches set up, and like the advertising was incredible. But I felt like this Predator fit really, really well. And once you kind of got past the fact that it wasn't leather, like this one was a slow burn. It didn't start selling off great, but once kind of people came around to it, then it started selling really, really well. Like every colorway, and there was a lot of really good colorways in this. They did a lot of experimentation and kind of went for it.
So this is one. So as I say, I skipped the Addy Power originally. I did try the LZ, but the only reason I tried the LZ, so I was living in the Netherlands. I was living in Amsterdam, and I didn't have any boots with me. I didn't have any boots when I moved, and I got invited to essentially train with a team. I didn't have any boots. I went into a shop that had, and literally this was one of those kind of old style shops that had a few pairs of boots on the wall, and then just like the boxes stacked up like on the shop floor, you know, like stacked like up high, like your man was getting on a ladder to get up to find the size, but he knew exactly where every single boot and every single size was.
He always do.
So it was one of those. And yeah, I went in, and it was mainly like Copa Mundials, things like that. And then they had some LZs on sale. It was the black and red colorway. Red, you know, like kind of pinky colorway. One of the only black boots I've ever owned where I'm like, you know what, I really like that. And yeah, I think I enjoyed them more than I would have admitted at the time. And I think as time's gone on, maybe I'm playing the nostalgia card, but I feel like I've come around to them a lot more, even in the last few years.
Especially,
so it could be a nostalgia thing. It is the upper. It's the upper, really.
The upper's really, really, really good. Like, it's so crazy to think that this was 2012. And yes, there's definitely, you could say the Addy Power should have been kept going because of how good that was. But like, what they managed to do with this upper at that time was pretty crazy.
Yeah. And this is another one that, like, if you'd have taken, I know we've got hybrid touch on the current gen, but if you'd have taken that hybrid touch and just put it on, nobody would have complained.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you could have used the old hybrid touch.
Yeah.
And then that white pink Beckham pair that I helped you get, like,
yeah, that's the other Beckham one I have. I have the white pink.
So my Pred head loving friend, I think, had 3 pairs of the white pink Beckhams.
Lovely. Yeah, I didn't buy the remakes, and I've been told by many people that they're terrible. But I do have I do have the original pair, which, as you say, you helped me get, which I'm delighted to have in the old collection.
This is another one I'd love to grab a pair of, just because they were just fun to fool around in.
Yeah, it'd be a nice easy boot to wear and play in. I think these ones are good. I don't think they go into great, really, but I think they're good.
They have to be at least good, yeah.
Yeah, there's something about them. I think when you're saying great is Mania, Pulse, Power Swerve, things like that, I think it's hard to put them in that same category.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but I think
But
any
they're up
lower
there.
than good is very, very would be very
Harsh.
harsh. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Okay, so let's move on to the LZ2,
Hmm.
which was 2013, which is fundamentally the same thing with different
Yeah.
elements, and those different elements, in my opinion at least, and I know there's actually, I thought I was in the majority here, but I might not be. I thought those elements made the boot worse, but
Yeah.
I've had a
Yeah.
lot of people recently tell me the opposite, that they
Yeah.
preferred the LZ2.
The LZ2. I think
Yeah.
part of it is it was far enough away from the X and the Addy power at this point. Because like
Yeah,
this is the Samba Pack colorway, right?
it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like it was far enough away to where kind of people, and there's a new generation coming through. And so it really caught on like that. But yeah, I think the LZ1 was better than the LZ2 for me. The LZ2 was still a good boot, don't get me wrong. The upper was still really nice. I liked I liked the idea of what they tried doing
Yeah.
with like the grip elements and the striking area. I just thought the LZ1 was done better.
Yeah, the only problem for me was that the striking elements were too big. They were too kind of a little bit too bulky.
Mm-hmm.
They interrupted the touch a little bit too much.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, no, for me the LZ1 was better, but still not a bad boot. And
yeah.
I think that's fair
I,
enough. Yuli makes a great point that Beckham's PSG LZ2 was phenomenal, which it
oh yeah, they're
was.
so good.
That was amazing. Such a nice
I,
boot.
I I will say this: like the first colorway was that green,
Oh
which
yeah.
I like a lot better in retrospect. But when it came out at the time, I remember I remember specifically when we ordered it versus when it came out. So when we ordered it, we were kind of shifting to a new way of filling stock at the stores. So okay, we'll go fairly light at the other stores, but then for the main store, we'll order tons of these, and that way we can refill stock. So we ordered a lot of the launch colorway. And then I remember them releasing, and then Soccer Bible having an article come out like a few days later, like, yes, this is a new pred, and they were just complaining basically about the colorway and about how the pred's lost its identity, yada yada yada. And that's kind of when I was like, this launch colorway is not going to sell at all, is it? And it sat forever. I think we eventually got rid of them. They were like what, 220 or 230, and we eventually got rid of the last ones for like $80 or
Oh
something.
man.
And that was like a year and a half later. Yeah.
Oh dear. Okay, so LZ2. Again, it feels harsh to put it in meh. Is it still
Yeah.
good? I think good is fair.
I still put it in good because it's another one of those, like, looking back at the time, the LZ1 was so much better, but looking back, you're like, okay, I see what they're trying to go for. It's a good fitting boot still.
Yeah.
And like Justin says, it had a more volume in it. Ooh,
Nearly fell off my
don't
chair. Don't worry
fall.
about it. It's all good.
No. Yeah, so we could still put that in good. Definitely
Yeah.
below the LZ1, but
Yeah. Below the LZ1, but still in good. No question.
I will say the SL colorways for this, they didn't necessarily have the grip, but they still have the elements, and they were much better done than LZ1 SLs.
Yeah. That seems very fair, actually. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the Instinct. So we'll move on to 2014, and we get our last Predator before the death, which feel like we'll get onto it in a second, but it feels like that death lasted forever. And like you look at the timeline in front of me, and it really didn't.
No, it did not.
But anyway, so yeah, we have the Instinct, which again I think is a good concept and probably some of the most effective striking elements we've ever seen.
Yeah.
It definitely didn't do it for me as much as the LZ1, the LZ2. Like, honestly, I think apart from, I'm not saying it's as bad, but apart from maybe the X, this might be my least favorite Predator up to this point.
Yeah, I will say this though, because like they did some great colorways. They had the all white and all black colorways, and my
The all white's
friend had
glorious.
like he had like 3 or 4 pairs of the all whites, and he sent some to me a few years later when he stopped playing, and they were better than I remember and worse than I remember at the same time. So the sole plate, that rubberized sole plate, kind of doesn't hold up as much. Whereas at the time they were doing it because you can control the ball with the sole plate better.
Yeah.
But like the fit was still like surprisingly really good. They did some really interesting stuff with the back of the heel where it like gripped the back of your socks. So like when you put your sock in, it was smooth. But
And
if you
then when
pulled it
yeah.
up, yeah, it started gripping. And like that was some clever stuff they did there. They had some good colorways. It was really heavy too. Like this was one of the heaviest Predators since like the X.
Yeah, I think
So
that
it's
was
a weird
mainly
direction to go
that
in.
felt like for me at least the striking elements and that rubberized sole plate just seemed to add like a ton of weight to the boot. So yeah, I don't know. For me, I don't have a lot of love. I don't think it's a bad boot though. I think the shape was still pretty good.
Yeah.
Um,
Justin saying besides the Rotero, they're the best made.
Best
They did
made.
say, yeah, they did have.
Interesting.
I think they did have an SL version of these. I will say this: the fit I think was pretty good in the fact that a lot of people who actually would try these on, these didn't sell that well, but a lot of people who tried these on were like, "Oh, actually, these are really good." Like I remember one guy specifically saying, "Like these feel really light on feet," and objectively, they weren't light boots. But just
Right.
because they fit some people so very, very well that it's just kind of in their mind it felt like because they fit right.
Interesting. I was going to say the SLs on these were those red and white things, weren't they? They were kind of red, white, and kind of goldy color, was it?
Mm.
That was the SLs for
Yeah,
these.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like for me, these are still meh. Like I don't think I like them enough to have.
Yeah.
They're not LZ1, LZ2 kind of
No.
level for me. They're not. I don't know. I think they're meh.
Yeah, they weren't as bad as people thought they were, but
No, they definitely weren't. They're not as bad as people thought they were. I feel like they've had a little bit of a nostalgia resurgence. I think people are like thinking of them a little bit more fondly these days. And I think if this was just like a regular ranking and you're not putting it against every other Predator that's out there, they might be a little bit higher. But I think when you're putting it against,
yeah,
what has come before, I think it's meh.
Yeah, definitely.
Trev
The
Dunphy, I think
SL,
they're better than the LZ1 and LZ2 for sure.
yeah,
Oh,
that's surprising. The crazy light version, I think we can put in great though.
Yes.
For me personally,
Yeah, for sure.
or not great. Maybe not great. Good.
Sorry,
Yeah.
yeah. Good. I think that's fair.
Man, I get the feeling Boot Wizard is a Nike fanboy. Ho.
Rude and unnecessary.
Also, if you compare this, I think if you compare this list overall, even at the end to the list we made for the Vapor, I think a lot more boots wind up in great here than in the Vapor.
I don't doubt that. Like, I am sure we like panned like pretty much everything from like the Vapor 3 onwards. Like the Vapor 3 was fine, and then after that, everything else got crapped on until like 2014. And
basically.
even in 2014, we were so hard on like the Superfly and things like that. But yeah, I feel like Nike fanboy is very harsh. I don't know what I've done to deserve that.
A bit harsh.
Like jeepers. Anyway, moving on. So at this point, if you would like to know about the what happened and whether Adidas were correct
We're
to
not
kill
counting
off,
the damn ace.
no, we're not. I haven't even got this on the list. If you think Adidas were, if we want to know if we think Adidas were correct to kill off the Predator
Jacker,
and
you're fine,
bring it
mate.
back, then you should go and watch our other podcast, which we did on should Adidas have killed the Predator, and we come to a definitive conclusion as to whether that was the right thing to do or not. Because wear good eggs like that.
Yep.
So go and watch that. And then we have obviously the nonsense that is the Ace, which we will not be discussing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Tracker, I'm kidding, man. You're all good.
Yeah.
And then we can go to the Predator 18.
The Predator.
The glorified Ace 18,
Right.
which I do have an image of. So this is the Predator 18, came out in 2017, which means we got like, what, 3 years between
With no
No
Preds.
Predator and Predator? Not even quite that long.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know what? These aren't terrible football boots. They're
They're pretty
not,
comfortable.
yeah.
But
And
if we're ranking Preds,
yeah,
I think
this is where I was
Yeah.
going with this.
We're ranking Preds. This isn't a Predator.
No.
Put it in the bin.
Yeah,
If you
this
called
is
it the Ace, that was fine, you know?
yeah. This is exactly where I was going with this. Is I was going to say I actually don't dislike the boot. I thought it was a very comfortable boot. I thought it was a very no nonsense boot. I think it did everything well. The sole plate wasn't amazing, but it was good. The upper wasn't incredible, but it was good. If I needed a pair of boots to just put on and perform and not think about, I could reach for these, and that is like higher praise than you might think it is. Like if there's a pair of boots that I can put on, not think about, and be happy in, that's actually quite impressive. Now I'm only really discussing the lace model here. Obviously, we have the laceless as the picture, but because the lace models are overall always better. But yeah, like as a boot, I don't mind them, not one bit.
Yeah.
As a Predator,
they're garbage. Hot
absolute
garbage.
hot garbage.
Awful.
So hot garbage into awful. Then we move on, and we'll get through this quite quickly to 2018, and we get the Predator 19, which you might notice looks an awful lot like the Predator 18, apart from somebody stuck some fins on the heel on the back. And this was fundamentally the same boot with a different heel shape with the, not even on the inside, just different heel shape on that little bit on the outside. And they weighed more. And this was I think one of the early reviews I did for Boot Wizard. And
go look it up.
Even don't go look it up. Yuli, I know you're in the Yuli, I know you're in the chat. Stop writing
Yuli,
whatever it is you're writing right now.
Put the link in the chat, man. You got to let the people know.
Stop it. And I'm pretty sure that I panned this for being too similar, even at that early stage of my reviewing career, where I was generally being quite nice. These, X aside, because of how ridiculous these were in terms of the difference being so minimal between the 18 and the 19, and the fact that it wasn't a Predator, these might be my most disliked Predator that has ever been made. They're so stupid.
Because it weren't a Predator. Because it wasn't a Predator.
Yeah. So, in the bin, down the bottom, and set it on fire. And
go
I'm
to
not
the
saying
shame. If it could fit a cone of shame on it, I'd put it on there.
But I don't even again, I don't think it's a bad football boot. I don't think it's a bad football boot at all.
No.
But it's just not a good Predator.
It's not Predator. They didn't need to do this. That's the stupidest thing. Like, they could have said, like, okay, when this next Ace model is coming out, they said, okay, we're going to keep the Ace, but by the way, the Predator is coming back. And then rather than just messing around and doing these and saying this is a modern Pred, wait until the Mutator.
Yeah.
And then say, okay, now the Pred is back.
Absolutely. Okay, so from this point onwards, we have a little bit of a gap in the images from here until the end, I'm afraid. Until we get to the remakes. I have all the remakes. I don't know why that happened. They just didn't upload. But anyway, on to the Predator Mutator, as you have said there. So this is 2020. This is us starting to get towards bringing back some Predator kind of vibes. They at least have the Predator element. It definitely feels more modern. They're not a great boot, though.
Not a great boot, but I mean, it's a Predator again, so I'll at least put it in meh for that.
I'm willing to put it in meh.
The laceless didn't fit as bad as the laced.
Yeah, that's probably fair because
I will.
the laceless was softer.
Yeah, well, and the remember the lace had that weird fit, like tight midfoot,
The tight
wide
midfoot and the wide forefoot. Yeah.
which wasn't as bad on the HG model we got in Japan because
Okay.
the HG plate was
The plate
wider than
was
the
wider.
normal. Yeah, so it forced the rest of the upper to be a bit wider. But they were at least going in the right direction.
Yeah, they would. If it wasn't for the fit, I would have been more positive about them. I think.
Yeah, I
But
remember.
the
I think I
fit irks
traded
me.
mine for the Nemesis.
Which
I gave
the
you the
nemesis that I
Nemesis.
got off you. Yeah.
Yeah, and I got the Predator, and I was like, okay, I'll do a review for these, and I put them on, and I've made a mistake.
This was an error.
This was an error. Yeah, so instead of reviewing them, I was just like, just gonna sell them. I
Just
actually
gonna
made
sell
more
these.
from those than the cost of the Nemesis I bought.
Nice. At least everything worked out.
It worked out.
Uh, I'll accept. Yeah, I'll go with you on Mare. I'm not gonna lie. I'd be tempted to put them in bad, but I think that might be
Bad.
too. Is that too
Yeah.
harsh? That's maybe too harsh. Okay, let's go with Mare.
It was a little too.
All right, let's move on to the Predator Freak, which took that narrow midfoot, wide forefoot idea and exacerbated the damn thing.
Yep.
By again, they tried to do the right thing because they made the upper softer, and they made it more malleable, and they made the spikes work better with the upper, so that But what that meant was that the forefoot just spread more, which meant that there was just a stupid amount of room in the forefoot. And then they had this really structured midfoot on a sole plate that had a very narrow midfoot that kind of just went like this. So I was genuinely getting like a cramp in my midfoot while I could literally feel my toes in the front of the boot going like this because they couldn't, like, there was no way of holding them down, of locking them down, because there was enough volume over it as well to really provide me with no lockdown. The boot improved in a lot of ways for me. The elements were better. It was a softer boot. It's just the fit.
Heel was better.
The heel was better. You're not wrong about that. The fit. The fit.
It's just so bad.
I shouldn't say these are too bad because these are so earlier in the pod I said I'd swapped a pair of boots with Justin, and the boots I've traded with Justin were my Pogba Predator Freaks for the David Beckham Precisions, and Justin, they're great. Keep them, Justin. Keep them. They're great. But to be fair, I think Justin likes the Freak anyway. I think he's a
laceless
fan.
Freaks were Justin was talking about, like the laceless ones, and the Freaks laceless was really weird. But like looking back, like at the time, it was just, what are you doing? But looking back, it was like, okay, I appreciate that they went for it. Like, I'm more appreciative of what they tried to do. That doesn't mean I like them.
Yeah.
But I appreciate what they're trying to do.
Yeah, again, the same with the Freak. Yeah. Appreciate it. Footloose Boots here made a great point. The Dragon and the Mutator, so cool, almost ate J-Mike. They had a Komodo dragon, and that was very cool, actually. Made a big deal out of that.
By the way, if anybody's looking for a size 9 in those, Jay from Boot Hype actually has a pair that I'm sure he'd be more than willing to get rid of.
There we
he
go.
has the Dragon 8. They've never been worn, blah, blah, blah. Oh, and the Dragon one was leather too, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's the original name of the dragons? I don't know.
No idea. So Mutator and Freak both into meh, I think is fair. Okay, next up we move on to
the Freak. I will say this: I would only put the Freak in meh because the laceless ones are pretty good. Outside of that, they probably almost go in bad for me.
I feel like whichever one.
Looking back, the laceless ones redeemed it a bit.
Yeah. Meh all around before I change my mind. Okay, moving on to the boots that Justin has been waiting for, the Edge. So we have the Predator Edge. We're in 2022, so we're on yearly releases at this point, and I think it is well known by people within this podcast or watching this podcast, particularly those of you in the chat, that Andrew and I are not fans of the Predator Edge one bit. It's bad. It goes in
Justin,
bad.
I will say this, Justin. I love that you're so passionate about the boots. It's great. People need to have. I think it's awesome when people have a boot, like they like other boots, but they have the one boot that just works for them. They're very passionate about.
Yep.
For some reason, Justin, what like just in general, I sometimes want to ask Justin, what the hell, dude?
Oh dear. So Justin is at Texas Cleat Collector and co-host of the
And
Bootcast podcast. For anybody
go watch
who's
their stuff.
yeah,
Please go watch their stuff. They make great stuff. I love.
um,
I genuinely, sorry, off topic a little bit. I genuinely look forward to their podcast every week.
yeah,
Like I really enjoy their discussions and stuff. They're great. They're great.
yeah.
Great guys too. So, love the guys.
The podcast is incredible. Go and listen to the Bootcast podcast, please. If you're not subscribed already, go and get subscribed to that. Check out their latest episode talking about some upcoming Predators.
And we're being so nice because
The
the
Edge
edge
sucks.
is that bad.
I recorded this right. So I recorded a re-review of the Predator Edge essentially for Justin, because we've had this debate many times. I thought it'd be funny that I would re-review the Edge, and see, was he correct or not? He's not, but anyway.
It's not correct.
And I started editing it, and I stopped, deleted the file, and changed my mind because no, because I got like 10 minutes into the edit, and I was like, you know what? I want to come at this from a different angle.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think what I'm doing in this review is fair. It was fair, but at the same, so I wanted to come at it from a different angle, and this is the angle. This review will still come out eventually, but the angle I wanted to come at it from is very much what you just said, which is very much this idea that it doesn't matter. We've spoken about this on the podcast before. It doesn't matter what I say, what you say, what people say. It doesn't matter if the Edge is to 100,000 people the worst boot in the world. Even objectively crap.
Yeah.
Like, it does not matter one bit. If you want to wear €50 club level Nike boots and that's your go-to and that's what you love, go and wear that.
Yeah.
If you love the Predator Freak, buy 100 pairs and
all
wear
power
that.
to you, man.
But yeah, go and do it. And the fact, do you know what I love? I love the fact, I love people who are willing to pick up something like the Edge that is universally derided and just be able to go, nah, screw you. I love this. This is great. Like, there's no need for any kind of pretense of like, oh, I'm not going to wear it. Nobody likes it. People, nah, screw it. I love the boot. I'm going to go and wear it. And I have a lot of love for that. So that's why the Edge review didn't come out, because I decided to go about it a different angle about it, and that's kind of the angle that's coming.
And I'll give you just a little caveat, Justin. Just a little. The only Edge that can go outside of just historically bad is the Pred 94 homage one, because that actually fits well. It feels nice and everything. If that was laced, I would have actually just picked those up and actually worn them. I couldn't do the laceless, but that's actually really nice. So I'll put that in there. It's still an Edge, but they went for it.
Yeah. Just going to have a quick look here on a couple of the comments, because I'm way far behind. But yeah, Yuli, the 19 plus 25 years will be in the remake section. This is very true. Edge wasn't worth it. I bought them for $43 and it still wasn't worth it. Ouch. Dear. Okay. Right. I like this from Footloose Boots. The Edge is an uncompromising boot. You bend to it, not it bends to you.
Oh, like the Vapor 13.
Oh, dude. Come on now. Let's not.
I'm not wrong.
You are wrong.
I'm not wrong.
You're so wrong. Moving on to the Predator accuracy, which okay. So the accuracy, I think, has a similar, I'm not saying it's anywhere near this good, but it's had a similar history to that of the Addy Power, whereby it gets lumped into this idea that it's a worse boot than it actually is, simply because it follows something that is universally disliked. So it follows the Edge. Nobody likes it, therefore the accuracy is bad. Not
Yep.
true. The accuracy is not
True.
my favorite boot,
No.
but it's all right. Like, it's great if you had a wider foot.
Yeah, it's kind of having to remind me. There's been so many damn Predators models recently. I actually like these.
I didn't get. Sorry, I'm just adjusting my seat. I keep sinking. For anybody who's interested and is watching this, so my camera sits above my monitor, so I have to sit up on my chair, which doesn't go high enough. So I sit on like a box, like I'm a small child on a booster seat. But that box is very uncomfortable. So on that box, I put a sleeping bag that belongs to my 2-year-old son, which is a dinosaur. So, so every podcast, hold on, let's see. There he is. So this is my podcast buddy. So yeah, this is every podcast. I am sitting on a on a dinosaur for anybody who's interested. And when these podcasts go long, the chair starts to sink. But yeah, so
Just buy
accuracy.
a new chair, damn it.
I shall do no such thing. That's boot money. So yeah, accuracy. I think is meh. Because I don't think there's much more to it than that. I don't think it was a bad boot, but I don't think it was a. I don't think it did much for me either.
Light years ahead of the Edge, though.
Light years ahead of the Edge. That is.
Sorry, Justin. I had to get one more.
Yuli, when he finishes the podcast, he wears the dinosaur. We know it. You know it. Oh dear. Okay, and we'll move on to the current generation before we get on to the stupid amount of remakes that we still have to cover. And we have the Predator. I don't know what is it. The Predator Elite? Is it the Predator 24? Like I still don't know what the official name is of this thing. But either way, it's obviously a return to form. It's obviously a great boot. We've both given it fantastic reviews. I think Adidas have done ridiculous things with the amount of colorways they've released, when they've released them. And I honestly think they're ruining the legacy of their own boot right now. But it's a great football boot. It looks great. It performs great. It's a real Predator. There's very little to complain about.
Yep.
I think it's just great. It's great.
A lot of people are saying, Justin and Trevor saying only the FT model, which I disagree. I like the regular lace model as well, because so here's the thing for me. For me, the fold over tongue is like a return of the glory days of the Predator.
Yep.
But the lace model to me is like a modern Addy Power. That is how I see it.
That's a nice take. Yeah, I would still put both the FT and the Elite Laced into great on pure performance terms. I think they both look great. The tongue is obviously nostalgia in a little piece of material. I absolutely love it. But yeah, I would put both into great, and I think they're both fantastic football boots. Some of the best that Adidas has ever made, maybe. And yeah, them, and then obviously we will throw the Rotero mention in there, because obviously,
oh my gosh, the Rotero.
I knew that would happen. Please tell us about the Rotero.
I only sold mine because I got offered.
You got offered stupid money. Yeah,
I got offered stupid money for what I paid for them, and I kind of regret it. They're so good, and every week listening to Justin talk about how good they are, and I'm just like, oh, he's right, you know. And it probably will be in several years. People are going to be like, yeah, you should have the Rotero, blah, 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 blah. Oh, it's so good. And it is everything that a modern Pred needs to be. Don't get me wrong, the Hybrid Touch is amazing. I love that they've got it. It fits well. It performs well. But like the Rotero, it's just like, god damn, man. Like that's everything I wanted from a modern Pred. It's so good.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd have done the same as you. I think there's certain times that you just accept that you have to sell things.
Yeah.
Like I have my my Pred 30s for sale at the moment, because sometimes things just have to be done. Just have to be done.
I will say this: like, if I had the Pred 30, I would have been more okay with selling that than the feeling I got from selling the Rotero.
I think that's probably fair, because the Pred 30 at the end of the day is just a colorway in a box. Whereas the Rotero
is like,
it's a genuinely a better boot that offers something that not a lot of people like. There's not going to be any more of those. That's like the only one. And I think now, obviously, you could argue that maybe Nike could, not Nike, Adidas could scramble to make another one, but we're already in September. I don't think it's happening. The new Predator, the update is definitely going to come in January, or in December. So I think it's hold on to those if you've still got them, or at least get yourself a serious amount of money for them.
I'm a 7.5 UK trip, so it wouldn't work. And besides, I don't even have, like, I'm scraping together money just so I can start my next review, but I'm basically broke. That's okay. Off topic. That Suwon FC kit. It's really good. Look it up. The Suwon FC 4th kit is amazing. It's got a big dragon on it. The player numbers have dragons that curve inside of the numbers. It looks so good, and I don't have the money to buy one.
I am going to I'll make a note of the timestamp here for everybody, and anybody who's watching this on the catch up.
Thank you, Justin.
I will put a picture up of that jersey, because it's absolutely unbelievable.
It's so good. So I talked to my buddy in South Korea, and I was like, I know they're kind of your favorite team's rivals, but
Jay has just joined the chat. Boot Hype Jay. Did I really just turn on the video and hear something about dragons?
That Suwon FC jersey. Jay, you need to get that Suwon FC jersey. Go look it up. It's only available for 4 days, so I think the pre-orders. Yeah, I think the pre-orders cut off tomorrow night at midnight. So they're not limiting amount of making, but they're just only limiting order. Yeah, so whatever ordered is made, and then everything else. So, it's such a good looking jersey, and I'm crazy about anything dragons. I mean, I have 2 pairs of that objectively awful Puma Evo Speed Dragon. Like, my God, putting them on feet, I'm like, I'm powerful.
Okay, let's get into the remakes before we are here for 4 hours. So I have done the same with the remakes, so we'll start and kind of go
ones.
Chronologically through that, and we will start with probably one of the most derided remake packs of all time, the 2014 Revenge Pack.
Oh my gosh.
So we had the obviously the Revenge Pack remake of the 94. Then we have the Revenge Pack Accelerator as well, which should pop up on screen now. There we go. And then we had the Revenge Pack Mania. So this was all 2014. It all had that very Instinct sole plate. And the big problem with all of them was essentially that they were synthetic. Yeah, they were synthetic. And the synthetic wasn't great by all accounts either.
Yeah, they were like, oh, it's hybrid touch, blah, blah, blah. And it's like,
it's just
everybody I talked to who got a pair was like, this is not a hybrid touch. This is terrible. Yeah, these, I'm going to make a shout here. These going awful.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And you know what the craziest thing is that we were obviously just talking there about like selling boots and things. These go for so much money now. Like, people are paying crazy money for these, despite their general level of terribleness.
They still sell for stupid amounts.
Yeah.
I found one on here. Somebody's wanting like 2,000 euros for the Mania.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. But yeah, no, I think those going awful. I think the chat will generally agree with us.
Trev says he was offered 400 euros per pair. Maybe 40 euros. Yeah,
Yeah,
this
Justin makes
and
a good
this
point. It's strictly a Pred head collection boot. It's very true.
yeah, and it's one of those things like this is the first of a line of remakes, which we wouldn't start seeing again until later, where it was just like Adidas, what the actual, like, what are you doing, man?
Okay. All right. So they're an awful, and
Yep.
we will move along. And next up, so this is where obviously I've tried to make my own timeline and remember as much as I could. So please
Mhm.
forgive me if I get something wrong.
It's
So
not our fault. It's Adidas's fault.
yeah. So next up, I'm in 2017. I do not know which order these come in 2017. I just have 3 boots from 2017.
Oh, they had that
Um,
Champagne Mania remake, which was also crap.
Look at this. There we
It was
go.
crap.
So
Crap.
that is my 2017 my first 2017 pick, which is the synthetic Champagne Mania, which again goes for absolutely insane amounts of money.
Hmm.
But I
And they
didn't try
shouldn't.
these. I did try and buy these at the time, but I didn't actually manage to.
No,
Um,
that's probably a good thing. These also
yeah,
still go for stupid money.
which is what I was going to say. These still go for crazy, crazy money.
Now, I like
Um,
the pack that they did for this. Like,
mhm.
um, the whole
So
this was supposed to be more like even though it's a lunar, they kind of like did some off white for like the ace at the time, and then the pure speed, which was ah, fantastic.
and they made a whole the pure speed was fantastic actually, and they made
Yeah,
the whole marketing campaign with the red tongue coming back and things like that.
yeah,
I
and
can't actually, I keep looking because I can't actually reach them, but I would have got them. I have the Gloro
Glora.
from
Yeah.
this exact pack, so that's why I bought the Gloro, is because I couldn't get the Champagne Mania, so I bought the Gloro instead.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think are they
Yep.
just another awful, like, just
Yep.
bad
Yep.
boot? Yeah,
Awful. Awful.
excellent.
Good job. Good job, Addy.
Good job, Addy. You're doing it.
So
You're
many predators. So many predators top tier, and then the remakes were just like awful,
awful,
awful.
awful, awful. So next up, again, 2017, we are on to the Precision. There is another accelerator I think I need to find in here somewhere.
Mm.
But anyway, so we have this Blue Precision, which again, very, very sought after. And this
Hmm.
seemed to be when Adidas started to sort their crap out.
Hmm.
Because this is very much more so of a genuine kind of remake. It's leather, it's not
Yeah. Yeah.
synthetic, and they do seem to be working towards something here. I don't have any strong feelings or opinions about this boot, I'll be honest.
Oh, amazing. Amazing for me.
Oh,
This is one
okay.
of those. Yeah. Okay. So they released, and I was living in Japan at this point. They released, and I could just barely afford them.
Okay.
And they actually didn't sell out. They didn't sell out immediately. They took about 7 hours to sell out, if I remember correctly. And I went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and eventually decided against it because I was like, okay, the wife would probably be pretty upset if I was like, I just blew a ton of money on the remakes.
Yeah.
But looking back, I should have just done it because to this day, I would still love to have a pair of these remakes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I assume the chat is also going to be all about it.
Hmm.
So yeah, you know what?
Justin says, good remake, just don't love the soul plate. I don't mind the soul plate.
Fair.
I play a lot on AG, so it could justify it.
So those are great. I'm happy to
Yeah,
defer
great,
on that one.
great,
Like I say, I
definitely.
have very little kind of opinion on that, to be honest. Okay, so that's a great. And then I think this is where my timelines get a bit screwy. I think this was next, and I don't know whether it's 2017 or 2018, but he says as my computer goes very slowly. There it is. Boop. So we have this kind of concept David Beckham accelerator thing. I don't know what this was. Whose idea was this?
It's so bad.
It's really
I'll
bad.
I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. And like they at least made it leather, but like the laces didn't go high enough, so it looked like everybody I've seen play in a pair looks like their foot is sliding around in them.
Yep, very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. No, I can't. Yeah, they're bad. I don't think they're awful. I
Yeah.
don't think they deserve to go into awful with some of those
But they're bad.
other shockers. But I think they're definitely bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's either 2017 or 2018. Okay, moving on to where we're starting to get this first run of crazy accelerator remakes.
Oh, here it comes.
How many accelerators can we get? Now, I'm just going to press a button here that says accelerator and just see what happens. And it's not the right one. Hold on. That's not the one I was looking for. Neither's that one. Oh, this is not going well at all.
Because
there we go.
So
Let's try this
of them.
one. There we go. This is the 2018 kind of original accelerator colorway. It's pretty good. Like it's an OG remake.
It's great.
There's very little to complain about.
They got the red stitching to follow along with the lines and everything. Like awesome, just awesome.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything to complain about. I think my only issue is the fact that I know it's the first one in about 800 accelerators.
Oh yeah, the electricity pair came first.
I don't have these. I have them. I have them in the year, so I know this was 2018. The electricity pair is also 2018.
Yep.
So
put them in both great. That electricity colorway is fantastic.
It is, yeah. I should. I thought I had a picture of the electricity colorway. I apparently don't. I apologize.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. No, I lie. Dun, 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 dun. I did come prepared. There they are. So,
those look really good.
Those look fantastic. So yeah, those can absolutely both go into great. One of the things I remember from these, oddly, is the amount of fakes that were floating around. I just remember all the fakes, and the fact that like all the fakes had this horribly thin sole plate, like thinner than even a normal fake would have. Absolutely mad. Okay, so they're both into great. And now we are into 2019, which by my count has 4 remakes in the same year, which is absolutely stupid. So the first that we will get to, again, like I say, please don't hate me. I don't know which order they came in 2019. I just know they were all in this year, is this Beckham Precision remake. So this was a
very lovely,
really lovely. This was a 25-year anniversary boot, wasn't it?
Yeah,
25 years or something. I don't know. 25 years of the Predator, maybe.
But the this and the gold Zidane one came out at the same time.
Hold on, what? I did. Yeah, I wish this was faster, man. There we go.
I loved the whole advertisement. They're sitting on the couch. Beckham puts his feet up.
Yeah.
The white one. Zidane puts his feet up. Like, great ad campaign. Awesome boots. Love them. Love them both.
Yeah, I'm big fans of both of these. Obviously the Beckham ones for obvious reasons.
Thanks for coming, Alex. Alex Martinez is tipping out. Thanks for coming.
No worries, Alex. Thank you for stopping in. We appreciate you dropping in at any time. The gold are great. Obviously, like they never actually like existed, but it was great to give Zidane like that gold pair of boots. Like he used to get those like individual gold pairs of boots, and then those white Beckhams are nostalgia distilled into a football boot. They are special.
It's another one I missed out on.
Them.
So good.
Both of those integrate, I think, is completely
easily.
Are you happy with that?
Yes, absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah, Bex wore them in a match as well. He wore them in a
was it the Man United
Legends match? Yeah.
I think I was there for that match.
Wow.
I think I was in the stadium for that match.
Oh wow.
There was 2 around that time period where Bex was played.
They had a couple at that time.
Yeah, I think I was there for that one specifically. But yeah, anyway. So that's the Beckham and the Zidanes in 2019. Then we have what Yuli was discussing earlier, which was this kind of Mania 19 leather thing. I think
Awful.
I
It
don't
was
know what
leather, but it was
I
awful.
don't know what this was. I don't know what the point of it was, and I don't know why it existed. And then there was there like there was like a trainer as well, wasn't there? Like an ADV trainer,
Oh, and
like
there
a runner.
and there was a laced one that was white and red.
Yes, yeah. I don't have the
Yeah,
picture of the white and red,
awful,
but it was
awful,
awful. Bin those off.
awful.
Bin those off immediately. Yuli's going to be very
Yep.
upset. I think Yuli had the trainers. I think like
Yeah,
the
he
shoes,
did.
the runners. Yeah,
Yeah, those wild trainers.
yeah. Which I imagine were very comfortable, but
Were the
nonetheless.
elements just stickers on the book? I think that on the boot. I think they were.
And then yeah, they weren't actual elements, were they? I don't know if they were stickers, but I don't think they were actually like the elements.
I think they're kind of sticky, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
just terrible.
And then to top off 2019, because there's so much going on, we have the Red Mania remake. Now I don't have a picture of these. This is one of the ones I forgot. Many
good,
thanks,
really
Trev.
good.
Many thanks, Trev, for pointing that out. I
Mhm.
think those are one of the most iconic remakes. I think those 2019
Yeah,
Red Manias.
yeah.
Those are ones that everybody got behind those and was like,
Yep.
yes,
They're really
those
good.
are
They're really good.
amazing. So yeah,
Yep.
another
Those great.
great
Yep.
remake.
Yeah.
Damn, we are being so nice. We are never this nice on this podcast about anything ever.
Nope. Make good stuff and we'll be nice.
Apparently.
Not our fault that this industry turns out just constant crap.
Okay, we are up to 2020. And that brings us to come on, I definitely need the picture of these.
Mhm.
I can't see it. Oh no, it's the wrong one. Sorry, wrong one. It's all gone horribly wrong.
Trouble behind the scenes.
Trouble behind the scenes. Anyway, while I find it, let's talk about the archive.
Oh, I actually reviewed these.
Did you?
I got a pair from Yuli, reviewed them, and then sent them back to him later on. Yeah, these were awesome.
Really?
The only not awesome thing about it was the colorway.
I was gonna say the colorway is terrible.
Colorway's terrible. Everything else amazing. I'm still gonna put it in great because they were so much fun to play in.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, they were a lot of fun.
Such a cool concept. Like incredible concept. I just don't understand why they're blue.
Yeah.
Like
I've seen the unreleased colorways that both
yes,
Pred Collective and what's Henson's handle?
I was really hoping you'd know because I couldn't remember.
I totally forgot. But yeah, it was a collab with those guys.
It was, yeah.
The colorways they got given versus what was available to products, two different things. And basically, Adidas said we need the Adi power to be represented somehow. And it's like, okay, but that's not the way.
No, there was
Predator Pro. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
And thank you, Trev.
But yeah, no.
Colorways absolutely awful. But as boots, they were so much fun to play in. I love them.
Okay, they can go in great. I'd say, like, I obviously never wore them, but they can absolutely go into great.
I love that the power swerve element was on the left foot because I'm left-footed.
Because you're left-footed.
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right, going into great. The guys will love that.
Henson said the unreleased colorway was supposed to come out, but they pulled it last minute.
Oh, well, I'm assuming that's maybe because they didn't sell as well as they were expecting. Like those, they actually ended up going
into shit colorway.
Yeah, they actually ended up going into sale and stuff.
Oh, March before we got the Absolute, we got the blue Mania.
I'm getting there.
Japan blue.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
I don't. So, to be clear, I have lists of everything in the year. I do not have it in chronological order of the year.
Fine. That's fine.
So obviously the archive was 2020. These, which I've pulled up now, which are the Absolute Eternal Class, also 2020, and then the Japan Blue Tormentor, also 2020. I will get to them all. I am not in perfect month order. I'm just in year order. I apologize for that, but that is the way it's going. And to use one of Andrew's lines, if you don't like it, get your own podcast.
Start your own podcast.
But so we're on to the Absolute Eternal Class, which I think looks great.
So amazing.
Looks amazing. It feels unnecessary though.
I don't care. It goes in great. I don't care. I'm always going to be happy when they bring back some of the bizarrely less celebrated Predators.
And yet we're still waiting on a power swerve.
We're still waiting on a power swerve. What the hell?
What the hell? Okay, cool. You know what?
Yep.
Again, I have no strong feelings on that one, so that one can go into great. I'm happy to go with that. And then to make everybody happy, there we go. We
That was
have
going great. Easy.
though even like those are absolutely great, and these are a perfect example of what they've done wrong with the made in
With the
Germany
new
ones.
Yep.
Yeah, because look at how well they look, how well they're made. They're K leather. They've got the split sole. The stripes go underneath. These are as close to a perfect remake as a boot that you're going to get.
Yep.
I think.
Absolutely.
Like I don't know how you do it better than that unless you start taking the original tooling and physically doing R&D to update the materials to then put a brand new fully redesigned tooling that just looks like the original one onto the boot. That is the only extra thing you could do with this boot. I think that is
superb,
perfect football boot when it comes to a remake. I have no notes. Okay, moving on to 2021, and we are starting to see some pulses appear. So we have the I do have images of these. I will get them. And so we have the Pulse Legends pack, and we also have whatever this Pulse is that I've just labeled Pulse 2021. The UCL one. So this is the Champions League Pulse. I believe
That's
Justin has or had a pair of those, which I still think they're nice looking. I'm
it's just weird decision.
Yeah, I get doing Champions League colorways, and the Champions League colors like this blue pink are nice. I think it's just weird to put it on a Pulse. Is there a reason you would put it on a Pulse? I know that the Pulse used to have.
They just wanted to match it up with the packs.
Yeah. Just good for being ridiculous.
Yeah, we got the UCL F50 there as well.
Oh, we did.
That silver
one. The silver one. I've got that.
Yeah, that looked amazing.
Well, I don't have that. We like the story. I have one of those. I have a left boot. So yeah.
But I'll put these in good because I expected. I just can't get with the color.
Yeah, I that was exactly my thoughts. I'm like, they definitely belong into in a good category, but maybe not great just because they've got a weird colorway.
It's just bizarre.
Yeah. However, while the pulses continue, I don't think I have a picture of this one. Oh, I do. Sorry, found it. It's right here. There we go.
Yeah, those look great.
These are unbelievable.
Yeah. What colorway?
Now, was this an EA Sports collab?
Yeah. Yes, it was.
So, like, I'm going to criticize the Champions League collab for it being like a Champions League collab and it just fitting with a pack and drop it down. But, if you put black, white, and gold on a boot, I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, seriously.
God damn.
So good.
That is a good-looking football boot. And yeah, those can go in great.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah. Trev Dunphy, Legends Pulse was a much better colorway. White elements complemented the black boot perfectly. Yeah, I absolutely agree.
It really did.
I'm generally a fan of 2-color boots. So I like boots that have a base color and an accent color. A third color sometimes, but like generally 2 boots. In this instance, this is a perfect time to use that third color, to use the white. I think it works absolutely perfectly.
So good.
So yeah, I love that, and that can go into great. Okay, so that is the Absolute, the Archive, the Tormentor, and the Pulse. Okay, next up we have hey, we're back to the accelerators! Yay!
This is when we go from.
I'm gonna just
awesome.
No, it's not that one. Hold on, sorry. I've literally got so many that I just labeled this one. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool idea, but this was also like, why?
Yes. Was this a Pro Direct like collab exclusive type thing?
Yeah, I think so.
I feel like it might have been.
I think this was the one where like some people, when it first came out, some people were really hyped for it, and then the hype died off quickly because they kind of sold out quickly, and then you realized because all the resellers bought them and were just
Yeah,
stocking up loads. Like I don't remember who it was, and they probably don't deserve even being shouted out on this
absolutely
podcast.
not.
But I remember they had like 40, 50 odd pairs, and it was just like, what the?
Jesus.
Yeah, these were full release. Oh, ProDirect had the
The
Chrome.
Chrome ones. Okay.
Yeah,
I have
yeah,
absolutely not got those Chrome ones on my
yeah.
list.
Anyways,
So somebody
they're
tell me
just
where those Chrome ones went.
yeah, they were really cool. But we started. This is where like it wasn't quite fatigue yet, but it was just kind of like, okay. I mean, these look cool, but why? So
Yeah, I think looking back, I have more fatigue than I did at the time.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it is that point of like, Christ.
These
And
could still go in good
oh yeah,
for
this
me.
is good
Yeah,
as
yeah,
good as it's still fair enough. But yeah, it's definitely fatigue's kicking in, especially when they start doing things like this.
yeah. Then
Um,
that like great colorway. Why the hell does this exist?
why does it exist? Yeah, so this is the
So
hyperlative pack. I think hyperlative
mhm.
pack is probably the way that's supposed to be pronounced.
These actually fit quite well, despite them creating 67 colors of this remake. Yeah, no, you got a good point. They just didn't need to do it. These okay, I think Soccer Shop Camo here. They had these for forever, and I think they finally got rid of their last pairs at like €100.
Oh wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
I do remember these didn't particularly sell, and there was a lot of talk about, and I think it is a thing. If it's not an original colorway, it's not going to sell as well. And I
yeah,
think we'll get onto it, but there's definitely one of the Beckham colorways where I think that just proves the point that
hmm,
realistically it has to be an original colorway or maybe a
yep,
blackout, or it has to
yep,
be something exceptional to get it
hmm,
to sell. I think just slapping like a bright kind of electricity yellow and blue onto a boot isn't necessarily going to sell, despite the
yep.
fact that I think if you put that color combination onto maybe the modern Pred, that would be a very nice boot.
It would be.
Yeah.
I actually, like, I like this colorway, but I was just so tired of this shit at this point. Like, it's gonna go in May for me just because of fatigue.
Oh, okay. I was gonna
It
say
doesn't deserve to go in good.
good, but you know what? I'm happy out.
I'll put the no. I'm happy to put them in good for you. Like they look good. It's a good boot. They fit well. People like them, but like, what the hell?
Oh no, I'm more willing to go with what the hell. Like, there's too many Accelerator remakes. One of them's going to get
Exactly.
punished. Uh,
Yeah.
Hyperlative Accelerator, consider yourself punished as per virtue of there
Yeah.
being so many. Somebody had to take the fall, and
Hmm.
it was
It
you, my
was you.
friend. Okay, so I don't think I've missed anything there, and that brings us to
Justin does disagree with the fact that it has to be an original colorway. It depends on the model when it comes out. That's a fair point.
I do think that's fair, but I do think that in pure sales terms, I think very it's very obvious that original colorways sell better than non-original colorways. Like,
Yeah.
I don't mean that they don't look good. I don't mean that they're not good boots. I think it genuinely, like, if you look at the boots that sell out, an original colorway always performs better than non-original colorways, like, new
Yep.
colorways and things like that.
Hmm.
I have had a chat with not somebody at ProDirect, but somebody who knows somebody at ProDirect, kind of like an indirect chat, who was having this conversation. I was getting secondhand information,
Hmm.
and they were essentially telling me exactly that the the non-original colorways didn't shift nearly half as fast as the
The
original
original
colorways do.
ones.
Yeah.
If they did a
Um,
white, black, pink, for example, they would have sold it. Yeah, I do agree with that.
I'm not saying they wouldn't have sold out. I'm just saying that the difference between like, for example, if you do a white, black, pink precision, and then
Hmm.
you do a white, silver, red Beckham precision, the white,
The white
silver, red
silver.
will sell
It's
because it has
yeah,
nostalgia.
yeah.
It's things like that. That's the difference. Um, And yeah, I'm literally it's just what somebody told me that they're not
Justin,
selling.
you're not just a guy. You're not just a guy. You're a guy who has a podcast, so you can talk about this
Yeah,
stuff.
you have a
You
podcast, Justin.
literally,
Say what you
we
want.
actually took your advice, not the other way around. You're, person zero when it comes to if you have a different opinion, get your own podcast. He
Yeah,
has his own
you have your own
podcast.
podcast, and it started before ours did.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is 2021 out the way, I believe, which brings us
Crikey.
to 2022. And this brings us to what should have been a great boot, but generally was poorly received because apparently the fit was terrible and the upper didn't really match up either.
They just look cheap as well.
They do, don't they? They don't have the same look as those originals, and this could have been a really cool remake. Could have been a really cool remake, and I just think they messed it up.
Super cheap.
It seemed rushed, and
all of them looked like this is one of those ones where they all look fake because they look so bad.
That's a really good point. They do kind of all look fake.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Okay, now I am.
And a takedown sole plate as well.
Oh yeah, that's just poor, isn't it? And
Yeah,
the fact you can still pick these up for like $100, like yeah, awful. Awful. Okay, then we have two boots that I don't have pictures of because I didn't have them on my list, and Trev had to remind me. And one of those is arguably the best remake so far, which is the SG Mania. So this is the original colorway, done pretty much perfectly. The only downside for most people is that it was obviously only available in soft ground.
Yeah,
but
fantastic remake.
Yeah, it's still great. Like I think that there's no way around that. And then there is also the gold absolute here as well, which great. Beautiful.
Gold.
I apologize for not having pictures of those.
Justin has a pair. Justin, wear your pair. Yeah. Wear your pair. Wear your pair. It doesn't matter if they're gold. It doesn't matter if we're at the wrong side of 30, chasing, quickly chasing 40. Wear your pair.
Was it gold absolutes are cursed?
Never playing them.
Oh dear. Yeah, we're close.
They're only cursed if you say they're cursed.
Exactly. We have uncursed them. The Bootcast podcast has powers. You need to uncurse them with your podcast, and the Football Boot Hour will do the same. Magic podcast powers. Okay, so that is 2022 out the way, which brings us to 2023. Now, am I right in thinking that there was only one remake in 2023?
That doesn't sound right.
Have I really? Is that a thing?
That doesn't sound
Trev
right.
Dunphy's,
Is that right?
Trev Dunphy's in the chat. He will.
No. Okay.
He will inform us.
So the white pink precision.
Yeah, that's the only one I've got. That's literally the white pink. Two. So what? White pink precision and PDS. Oh, okay. So this is the right. So I knew I was missing this somewhere. So this is the Chrome PDS accelerator. I do not have an image of that. I knew it existed. I just for some reason forgot about it. And I am just currently attempting to find the picture of the Beckham ones, but I can't see them.
That's fine.
But the Beckham ones are a good example, I think, of a boot that didn't really sell and probably would have sold a lot better had they been in an original colorway or something like that. And probably one of the only times that the game of slap Beckham on it didn't actually work.
Yeah, it was really weird. I don't know. For me, for some reason, this remake seems bulkier than the other precision remakes.
Okay.
I don't know why. Just something about it seems bulkier.
Like, I really like the way it looks. Like, I love the white pink with the black. I think it's a great looking boot.
It's a great colorway. I could actually wear that because there's just enough pink to stand out, but not enough to where somebody wants to 2-foot me studs up.
I am extremely biased because there was a 0.1 model that is synthetic, which means that I can actually wear that. So again, thank you to Justin for hooking me up with that.
The hybrid touch was apparently better than the calfskin. Justin, what's y'all's thoughts on the 0.1 and plus? Should every remake repeat that pattern? If they do one in synthetic and one in leather, I don't mind that.
Yeah, I don't think there's
It
any.
opens up the options for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any real reason to do two leather options, like having like a
Mhm.
maybe like a K leather and then a calf skin leather or something. Like that's
Yeah,
kind of
don't do that.
insane.
Just stick to your guns.
Yeah, like just do like
Oh, and the turf is also great. Yeah, Justin wears that turf a lot. Those seem pretty nice.
nice. Needed more
Yeah.
pink. I wouldn't have been upset
Yeah.
with more pink. I would,
No, but
but
yeah,
it
that
like
goes in great.
yeah, I really like that. It's a shame that didn't sell more
Yeah.
because it obviously what doesn't sell then affects what Adidas tries to do in the future. So which rightly so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that. Let's go. Let's put that in great.
Yep.
And then we have the Chrome PDS
Pro
ones,
Direct.
which
Look
great.
good.
They look good. Are they another one? Are they just one too many? Great.
They go in good.
Good. That's
they look
fine.
great, but there's too many of these remakes.
Justin says, yeah, that's what I meant, just a hybrid touch and a leather version. Yeah, I would love to see that. I don't think they will do that, but yeah, I would love to see a hybrid touch and a leather, especially just at 2 price points. Like you can have that €300 price point for the leather, for the fusion skin or whatever you're doing, and then you can have that lower kind of like regular price point, maybe like 220 for the regular tongue. Yuli makes a good point. I hate Velcro tongues. Slap a tongue strap on it and strap on it like a real boot. I might tongue strap mine. Great boot to play in.
Velcro tongue on these. I love the Velcro tongue on these so much. It's so good.
I love the original logo on the tongue of the PDS Accelerator. Is an exact copy of the 98. I didn't know that. That's very cool.
Huh.
That is very cool. I think honestly, because obviously I don't wear leather, so I don't I know the remakes are coming, but I never have them in hand, and I don't pay too much attention to the releases because I'm not out there trying to get them. So sometimes I do kind of miss little bits and pieces like that that would probably make them more enjoyable. Only 998 pairs made, but they should have numbered them.
But not numbered. Not numbered. That's stupid.
Yeah, so dumb. So dumb. We'll get into numbering boots another day. Like there's so many boots that should be numbered when they don't. So
that Pred, that was the guy who had his bot running on his Tesla and bought all the Pred Chrome remakes.
This is when the bots bought most of them. Yeah,
and there was that guy showing how to do it, and he had recorded himself doing it on his Tesla screen.
Yeah.
It's like, look, if you're driving, like I have a friend who drives a Tesla. I have another friend who actually works for Tesla. But if you're driving a Tesla, you're a twat.
Tell us
There's my hot take for the episode.
Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying.
He killed the resale market. Good. Because some people just don't deserve to be resellers.
It was getting like
I love resellers overall. There's a lot of awesome people, but some people just need to shut their damn mouths and quit.
Again, we've covered this on another podcast episode. So if you'd like to go to our podcast playlist, go and watch it. We had a whole literal debate about. We came to a conclusion at the end: are resellers good or bad for the football boot market? I will.
The Cybertruck is more so, Justin. The Cybertruck is a disease and is indicative of everything that is wrong with the human race.
If it makes you feel better, you can't drive them in Europe. They're not legal.
You shouldn't be able to drive them in the US.
They
literally fall apart.
In Europe, you have to have crumple zones. So, like, if you hit a passenger, a pedestrian, the
put car, it in bed just for the Tesla guy. But yeah, sorry, Cybertruck being crap.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that you can't drive them in Europe because they're not safe. Because in Europe, if you hit a pedestrian, the car is supposed to give, so it has crumple zones where like everything gives in to absorb energy and pressure. And the Cybertruck doesn't have that. It's just pure, like, I think it's literally like aluminium or steel or something. So it doesn't have crumple zones. So it's actually illegal to drive in, or at least illegal to sell in
My
Europe because it's not safe for pedestrians. If you should have
my
have an
hot
accident.
take. My hot take is that the Cybertruck is only allowed to be sold because Musk is a government contractor.
You're probably right. Like, you're probably right. We are well derailed now, aren't we? Let's get back on track, shall we, people? Right, heading to, I think, unless I've missed something, God bless Trev Dunphy in the chat. We should have just got Trev on to do this with us, to be honest.
Yeah, seriously.
Sorry, Trev. Like, Trev, we need to get you on to talk
This is
Preds.
his episode too.
Yeah. Trev, we really should have got you on to do this. We're so sorry. You can we'll get you in the group chat. We'll talk to you in the group chat or DMs, and we need to get you on to talk Preds. Come on and be the expert because you have saved me about 6 times during this episode. We are 2, unless again if I've forgotten something. We are 2 this year, and this year's 3 releases, which are the Made in Japan, Japan Blue, the Pearl, and the OG. These are the 3
and
boots.
the Pred 94.
Oh, and the Pred 94. I don't have an image of those.
Yeah, Pred 94. Pred 94. I'll just say it should go in great. Apparently, it's really comfortable, plays really well.
I actually had those on feet. I got a pair of those for a friend of mine. I got him 2 pairs, and 1 pair didn't fit, so sold them for him. But I actually put them on feet beforehand, and they were stupid comfortable. I didn't play in them, but stupid comfortable. So I kind of feel like where we're putting the Pred 94s in great, yeah?
Yep.
Great, yeah. I love that they were kind of like somewhere between an original like 1-to-1 remake and something that was actually functional. I thought that was very, very cool. Moving on to the Made in Germany's. So we have the Japan Blue, we have the Pearl, and we have the OG. And I kind of feel like the Pearl and the Japan Blue look better than the OG does.
OG. I think for me, Pearl is top Japan Blue than the original.
Yeah, to the point.
And I'm very tempted to put it where Pearl goes in great, Japan Blue goes in good, and the OG goes in meh.
So my thoughts were actually that the Japan Blue and the Pearl should go in good, and the OG should go in meh.
That works for me.
That's where I'm at with it, because I just don't think... Honestly, I think they've got lazy. Or they've run out of ideas. Or both.
Both.
I think there's just this idea now, like, it felt like, if you go back and you look through all of those remakes that we've spoken about, there's so many of them that are either inventive or really cool or really high quality. And it took
attention to detail.
Yeah, the details that went into them. Okay, there's a few there that missed the mark, especially early on with like the Revenge Pack and things. But once they kind of got their formula down, they were like, okay, we know what we're doing. Even some of the, like the hyperlative pack and things like that, random colorway, but it was really well made. Like really high quality kind of boot. And it feels like now they've just decided that in order to keep the profits up, maybe keep the shareholders happy, they need to keep dropping these remakes. And I think to drop 3 Mania remakes in the space of a month that
was a stupid idea.
Ridiculous. And the only thing that they've been able to do to kind of change it up is to say, oh, it's made in this, in the Scheinfeld factory in Germany, which is amazing.
Assembled.
That's so cool.
Assembled.
Apart from the fact that it's only put together there. And then
none of the materials are made there.
Yeah. And then you look at the OG and you start looking at the areas and elements where maybe things don't line up. And then I know that with every single one they've used the current sole plate, but in this instance, the sole plate really doesn't match. It really looks out of place. It feels like a lack of care. It really does. And
Yeah.
I hate a lack of care when it comes to things like remakes, because then that makes me feel like the remakes, and this is obviously why they're there, but I don't want to feel like it. It makes me feel like remakes were only there to make a bit of cash. There was no love behind it. I like to think that when they do remakes, there's some 40, 45-year-old guy, same as us. I know we're not quite that old, but you see my point.
Yeah.
Sitting in a corner somewhere, being like waxing lyrical about the nostalgia of the Preds, and checking to make sure that it actually meets his levels and his standards. And it just feels like that they've sacked that guy because he costs too much money, and they're just gonna whack out some stuff and hopefully find a new way to spin it so that everybody will buy it. I personally am a little bit disappointed by the Made in Germany collection that we got this year.
Yep.
I think it could have been better. I think it should have been better. And I think the fact that they were getting better, look at 2022's Mania, they were really like, that we're perfecting this this process. I think they've now got to a point where they've going backwards, and I dislike it.
Yeah.
And good
Trev
meh
says
is where I'm at.
they at least perform really well, so that's great. I'm glad they perform well.
Yeah.
But they need to they should have stuck, like, it's the details. The details really matter on a remake, and you know, there cannot be anything more obvious than looking at these current remakes.
Yeah.
And you're like, there's details missing.
Yeah, for sure. Without a doubt. And I also think they've overdone the accelerator. They've now overdone the Mania. They really should have looked.
The power
yeah,
serve.
they, like, irrespective of our own personal feelings, I feel like it only made sense that they should have looked at the power swerve.
They've done every other Pred with a fold over tongue.
And an LZ. What's their
and a LZ.
What's their issue with the power swerve, man? Like, who did you upset at Adidas?
If Jesus was alive and on Earth
and real,
and had to wear Pred. No, he was actually a historical person. There's historical sources to back him up. Whether you believe in his divinity is a different topic. But
okay,
if not Jesus, Buddha. I won't mention Muhammad because that's kind of sacrilegious.
Apparently.
But I would think they would wear power swerves because they know.
Oh dear.
And if you want to be like God, you should also wear the power swerve.
How do you know when you've been doing the podcast too long? Oh my god.
It's 2.5 hours, buddy.
2 hours and 21 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. It is 1:27 in the morning where I am at right now.
Yay!
So with that in mind, please do let us know what your rankings would be of all the Predators. Honestly, if somebody wants to go in the comments and literally put their entire ranking from top to bottom, please do. I would absolutely love to see that.
What I think we should do is we should bring Trev on for an episode.
Yes, please.
And we do top 5 Predators ever. Colorway, model.
Okay.
Yeah. All in one. Has to be colorway and model.
Okay.
And, yeah.
How'd you feel about that, Trev? I'm assuming you're still in the chat down there.
Yeah.
You wanna join us for a top 5 Preds ever?
Yeah. So do that.
Let's do that. Yeah. Next week, wow, 5 pairs. Yeah, Trev. There was like 50 pairs of Preds there. You got to narrow it down to 5. Next week, we have a special guest. Substance Football will be joining us next week. So please tune in. Please tune in next week. We will be live once again, same time, same place. If you want to catch us before then, you can catch me at Boot Wizard Boot Reviews on Instagram here on the Boot Wizard channel. Please do like this feed, like it if you are currently watching on the catch up, and get subscribed to the channel as well, please. It would be very much appreciated. And if you want to check out my review of the Vapor 16, which recently went up, that would also be very much appreciated.
It's a very positive.
It's much more. You know what you should do is you should watch my review of the Vapor 16, then go and read Andrew's review of the Vapor 16, And yeah, well, there we go.
Yeah.
Andrew, would you like to tell the people where they can find said review and you during the week should they
Anybody
wish
want
to
to buy
chat
a
boots?
vapor?
Hmm?
Anyone want
If
to buy
anybody
a
wants to
vapor?
buy a vapor and a US 8.5.
If yeah, find me at Lockhart Boot Blog and Lockhart Boot Blog. Easy.
Nicely done. Trev says he
Yep.
might need 10 pairs. I think we could probably stretch to 10.
I actually want to force him to do 5.
You want to
We'll
force
see.
him
We'll
to do
talk about
5?
it. We'll talk about it.
You can have 5 and 5 honorable mentions. There you go.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I think that is us
Right.
done. Thank you
Yep.
very much for joining us, guys. We are going to
My
end the
kid is
stream.
yelling in the background.
Yeah, and oh goddamn, I need to get to sleep. Catch you later, guys. Bye bye.
Bye.